Queen, she on live. Right now. Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope soul sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. That like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the NBK. Born and raised up NBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't so.
What?
Don't so.
What?
You're so.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the Just Nicking It weekly show, where we like to kick it and talk about the storylines as they relate to our New York Knicks since we last met. I miss you guys. I feel like I haven't seen you in like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not doing the morning shows. I'm going to have to figure something out. Maybe Tuesday evenings I'll come on for like an hour or something. I'm going to have to figure this out. Some other things I'm trying to do, start another YouTube channel, more on health and wellness. So I'm appreciating the free time that I have, but at the same time, I miss chomping it up with the panel and the chat. Tonight, we're going to have a lot of fun. Stock up, stock down. You know, if you look at the regular season, you look at the playoffs, is there anyone who, you know, you feel better about, you know, than maybe you felt coming into the season? Anybody you felt a little, you know, not too good about, you know, after watching them for the entire season in the playoffs? It's really just another way to assess our team. But for me, my lens right now, I got the chip lens on. When I'm evaluating players, I'm thinking about us winning this chip, who I think could play, who can't play, who can perform, who may not be able to perform. We never know, right? We just guessing. So we'll have some fun with that. We'll have some fun with, you know, trades. The Knicks, you know, I think have to upgrade this roster. I know there's some fans who disagree and feel like we can't get too crazy. And I might agree with that a little bit. But if the Knicks had to make a decision, so we're going to put on our front office caps. If you had to make a decision, a trade comes across your desk, and this is a trade that you really want to do, and you had to choose between Grimes and IQ, what you doing? If you had to choose between RJ and Randle, what are you doing? I got the panel here with me today, and we're going to talk about that and so much more. Jarrell, Boogie, Ajay, and whoever else is going to join us later. How you guys doing?
Salute to you, Queen. Yo, my guys, Jarrell and Jay Boogie. And of course, salute to the chat, Knicks Nation. I see, you know, they in here heavy. Pudge Nice is in there. Mega NYK is in there. Kerry Cox, David L. Everybody's in there. So we getting ready to chop it up. Like you said, Queen, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. Ashley Inc. Wiz, he said it feels like, to me, it feels like it's only been 1 week. But to me, it feels like a really, really long time. Maybe because Jarrell wasn't here last week, right? Maybe that's why it feels like, you know, it's been like 2 or 3.
Jarrell, we missed you last week, brother. It was like,
great show, though. Great show. I actually listened to the show. You guys was fine without me.
We did what we could without you.
Thank you.
We did what we could. Oh, man. So I guess, should we start with stock up, stock down, or do we want to put on our GM hats and just get right, you know, into it?
Queen, before we go, I wanna give you a special shout out, Queen, because like you're right, it does feel like it was a long time, and like I feel like I was getting annoyed because not only this show, like you don't do the NBK show like every Monday in the off season.
Oh,
so
I want to talk about that too. Yeah,
we're like right. Queen disappeared. So of course the good thing is you dropped a new podcast with Freezy. Yes. So you guys need to check this. Y'all got to check this out. It is really, really, really good. You know, and like there's a couple of spots in there. I mean, I don't want to give it away. Like I was on the floor. Like your interaction with Freezy and
That's the one we did today.
No, the one you did because I listened to it 2 days ago on Wednesday.
Oh,
So
okay,
you
yeah.
dropped it earlier this week.
Yeah, we did one today, but that one is on Freezy's audio podcast.
I mean, you guys really, Queenie, if you please drop the link, like let them download this. Listen, man, go to Spotify, listen to that. That's good stuff, man. That's really good.
Yeah, and the name of it is Just Nicking It.
Yeah.
You know, the same as this show. And I'm supposed to drop one every Thursday, but I had 2 meetings this morning I didn't even know about. So anyway, I'm dropping the ones on each player. So Randle is next, RJ, IQ, all of them are coming. But I wanted to have it done so that I could drop the link. And if you're not all over the place, people want to hear you, they got to go to the audio podcast now because I'm not all over the place. Anyway, I appreciate that, Ajay. Stock up, stock down, or are we getting right into the meat of it? How you guys feeling?
I figure let's warm up with the stock up, stock down. The GMC more like homework. Now I'm saying we say that for last.
Right. So this is purely subjective. This is just another exercise for us to talk about our players. You know, free agency is coming up. I think June 30th. I think you can start, if I'm not mistaken. That's when you can start entering into talks. And I think the next week, first week in July, is when you can sign. So it's an opportunity for us to and even at the draft, trades can go down, right? So it's just for us to just kind of talk about our players and just kind of get a feel. For me, like I said, stock up, stock down for me is about, are they chip worthy? Do I think they could play on that champ? But you guys have your own, thoughts about it. So yeah, let's start. Let's get Brunson out the way. I know. I'm just saying, let's just get him out the way. Stock up for me. I think we finally found a franchise player, in my opinion. We found somebody who can lead this franchise, and he's the only one, in my opinion. There's a lot of players on this team I would like to keep, but he's the only player that I feel is untouchable on this team. I thought he would be good coming in, but like stock or like rocket high for Brunson. So let's just get him out of the way unless there's some surprises.
Well, yeah, of course, that's my point guard. So stock up ain't gonna take that much time. Franchise player, JB will be our point guard for the foreseeable future.
Boogie?
No doubt, man. Shout out to the chat, man. Everybody rocking along on another Thursday with us. Shout out to the Queens, to the home team, home base. Shout out to everybody rocking this orange and blue. And I'm not even gonna hold up the process, yo. The stock is through the roof all the way through. It done broke the chimney. It's all the way. We got to call the roofer to come through, fix this right here, what this guy came and gave us. The same point in time last year, we were sitting here begging for one. And when he came, we got one. And then we went into, to determine can he do this, can he do that? He don't answer all the questions that he need to answer. Stock is way up on Brunson, Salute to that guy. Salute to the office going to get him, Now y'all know what y'all need to do after that and put the right pieces around him. But stock is all the way through the roof for that guy.
Well, I'm going to go a step further. You get that boy a raise, man. Bring him back to the table and say, listen, man, we paid you. We didn't pay you enough, man. Come on.
Hold the CBA collective bargaining agreement. Hold up, man.
I'll be like, listen, man, here's another 30 mil, like a little something under the table. You don't have to tell nobody here.
Right. But this is the thing. The Knicks better get their ducks in a row, because when it's time for his contract, unless something changes, and I don't think it will as far as his play, they're going to have to max Brunson.
Yep, they definitely have to max Brunson.
They're going to have to max Brunson.
Yeah, that 5-year 295 is going to be fair, especially if we do anything like what Jaylen Brown did, back to back. You know what I'm saying? All-star back to back. What is it? When you make
All
the
NBA.
all NBA, all that there, all that counts. If he does any of that right there, you might as well go ahead and bring all back it all the way. Hit the building with it. Don't even stop when you hit some bang.
Yeah, no, yeah. And the way this collective bargaining agreement is, you're not going to be able to have 2 and 3 max players. I think the rosters is going to really change over the next few years. You're going to have your 2 maybe highest paid players, and then after that, teams are going to be much more even. You know, you're not going to have these super teams with 3 and 4, players making, I don't know, 30, 40. Like, you just can't. You're just not going to be able. You can do it.
Love it.
But it's going to be, and you're not going to be able to do anything else with your team. You better have that team, better be a championship team, because you're not going to be able, there's not going to be a lot of movement. And I got a slide, and we'll get into that as well, just in terms of what the penalties would be if you go over the first tax line and the second. They call it an apron, but it's really the line, first line, second line. And we'll get into that. But they're going to have to max Brunson out. And the good thing, he's on a descending contract. So that does allow them over the next year or 2. I'm glad they got that capologist in there. Where did we get him from? Cleveland?
Was it Cleveland, Utah? It was one of them.
No, it was for Utah.
Utah? But that was Perrin. Perrin was, I thought the capologist was from Cleveland, and Perrin was the scout, whoever they are.
Oh, I thought Perrin was the
capologist.
Yeah, maybe I'm confused. I could be wrong though. I'm not sure.
No, you might
I
be right.
Perrin is the capologist.
Okay, all right. Whoever he is.
Yeah, whoever he is, he's doing a good job. Let's just say that.
And in his next 2 years, while I think Mitch is descending contract, Brunson is a descending contract. This is your time to get the players in, and get them in on good contracts if you can. All right. So Brunson is Brock Aller, Cleveland. I believe that's what
that sound right. That sound right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Steph, he was right. Like, Walt Perrin is the scout dude.
The scout dude, yeah. But what a mistake Dallas made with Brunson. Jesus. They could have signed that guy for $50-something million, and they didn't.
I don't think they could have forced. We didn't even foresee. And you're not going to tell me the Knicks front office saw this. I think they saw he was a winner. That he was. Maybe they thought he was on the verge of stardom, but I don't know. Listen, you saw watching Boston. You think they may have known it?
They went all out. Remember when they all invaded the Dallas?
Well, let's just say
playoffs last year.
If anybody would have known it, it would have been our front office. Let's just say that.
That's true.
If they did know it, but I'm not sure they knew this though.
You haven't seen them go all out for a player like that. Remember, they like the whole front office went to the games in Dallas, man. When they was playing
and what's his name as well, right? Donovan Mitchell. I don't think it was just Brunson, but
it was both of them. Yeah, it was both of them.
I think it was mostly Brunson, because at that time they didn't know Donovan Mitchell was going to be available. Remember, that came in later that summer.
That's a good point. Good point.
So
that's true.
They knew.
Well, if they knew he was going to be this,
I think
you could sign him to extension right now.
They got the intel. Listen, they got the intel, man. You got Rick Brunson over there telling them, listen, yo, my boy's all that. He gonna be all that. Get him now.
You can go even further than that. We had in-house people over there. When you talk about Jason Kidd, and you got to look at the work that he done, far as with Giannis and far as with Middleton and all them guys, before he left Milwaukee. So they might have talked to Jason and been like, yo, what you think about Jason? Might have told him, yo, by the time I get through with him, he's going to be like that. You better grab him. And you might want to put a number where everybody else going to be scared because they don't know. But I'm telling you personally, you better come get this guy. And he showed everything what he can be up in the playoffs during the regular season when Luke was out in the playoffs. And man, just a match made in heaven right here on earth, right here with the New York Knicks fan base and Jalen Brunson. Thank you.
That's a very good point too. because a lot of people keep forgetting the Jason Kidd New York Knicks connection. They forget that he played with us. So yeah, that's a good point, J Book.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is when you look at Miami and what they did to Boston, and how Tatum, to me, Tatum, and I'm not taking anything away from them guys, but Brunson to me did more against Miami than they did.
Yes, he did.
With less pieces around him. Like they was like on him like white on rice every single possession. And he just looked like a robot in the sense that he wasn't emotional.
Right.
He wasn't frustrated.
It's automatic.
He just brought the ball down every single possession. And that's something the Knicks are going to have to work on.
Yeah.
And just did his thing game after. Like that is just impressive.
Smallest person on the floor.
Yeah. That's just crazy. All right, let's move on to the other guard position. Stock up, stock down. Grimes, just in terms of when the season started.
I think with Grimes, it almost has to be up. Like I don't see how his stock is down. I know he didn't really play well in the playoffs, but this was his second year. He missed a lot of time in his rookie year. He missed a little time in the beginning of this year. So for me, his stock has to be up. To me, like it'd be kind of weird to say his stock is down just because of this performance. Maybe when we talk about another guard that's coming off a small guard that's coming off the bench later, when we get to him, his stock might be a little down because this was his third year. But Grimes, stock is up for me with Grimes.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow your lead, big guy. I'm gonna keep pushing it and riding in the car with you. I feel like we the guy with Stone and Robin and Cooley High. I'm riding in the back seat with you, man. His stock is up, man, for real, man. Because you say 2 years. Really, he really got basically one strong year because of the injuries. And he's only going to get better. And the thing you like about Grimes is what you want to have, a student of the game, a guy that wants, say he listens, he's a good listener, and he's willing to, to do what you're asking him to do. Before you can add to your game, you got to be willing to be able to accept what somebody's telling you what you need to add to it, and before you do it. So one thing about Grimes, man, he's young, he's willing, just got to get a little bit tougher, that's all. Get a little bit of that New York, energy. Listen to some D Block. I don't know what he's listening, what type of music. You need to listen to some New York music, you know what I'm saying? And let him know the next time somebody hits you in your mouth, you need to get up and hit somebody else in the mouth. But yeah, Grimes stock is up, man. He's 6'4", 6'5", play D. The shot going to get better. He going to get more confident, and he going to always be able to play defense, you know what I'm saying? Just continue on doing yourself and continue on growing, and everything else going to fall right in place for him. I like Grimes, for real.
Yeah. Go ahead, Adrian.
For me, definitely stock up. For two reasons. Like Jarrell said, I don't see how somebody can say stock is down because this is second year. Last year, he didn't play a whole lot. The little bit that he played last year, we saw the potential. But we're speculating. This year, we actually saw it. We actually saw it materialize. We like, okay, this guy, he's really got something. So, a lot of games he was eating that they didn't call any plays for him. They didn't call, like, it's just like with the scraps, whatever he's getting, whenever you get the ball, like he was able to get a couple of 25 points or what's up, delusional, a couple of 20 plus point games, just out of like, they didn't call plays for him. And he still found a way to score. Of course, he's a tremendous defensive player. So it definitely stock up. Definitely
Stock up for Grimes, and how he performed in the playoffs is not even an issue for me as far as stock up. I just think he's going to get better and better and better. I really like him, and just because I may criticize him, at times or tell it, in my opinion, like it is when it comes to a particular game or the playoff series, doesn't mean I don't like him. I think he's going to be really good. He's that 6'4", 6'5" guy that could defend the perimeter. I told you, I'm looking through the chip lens. You need those wing players that can defend their position. And because of his girth, he could play, he could play taller guys. They're not going to overpower him. They may shoot over him, but they're not going to overpower him. And he can shoot. I just think his shooting is going to get better and better. And I think hopefully his role increases as well, because I think he can do more with the ball than just play off the ball and wait for them to pass him the shot and then decide if he's going to shoot the three or attack the closeout. I think he has more to his game. Hopefully he's earned Tom Thibodeau's trust and the rest of the coaching staff so that next year he has a bigger role, because a lot of those shots RJ got, I would like to see some of those shots going to Grimes, particularly in the regular season. Obviously, RJ, still, we'll talk about it, stepped up in the playoffs. So now it's like, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't do anything with RJ shots. But in the regular season, I was like, we need to give some of RJ shots to Grimes. So let's see what happens. But definitely stock up perimeter defenders. We got to have them. You got to have them in today's NBA. Let's move to let's do Mitch before we get back to art. Yeah, go ahead.
Steph, one more thing real quick. When you said about, and I remember when you said you would like to see Grimes take some RJ shots. I remember when you were speaking upon that on the show. But more importantly, it's a difference from getting shots and taking shots.
That's true.
Grimes got to come. His game got to come back where I'm taking shots this season instead of just relying on the offensive set. When you decide to pass it to me, I'm gonna be ready to catch and shoot. You know what I'm saying? I need him to be a little bit more aggressive and be willing. When you get the ball, look at the rim and then look at your defender and be willing to take him. You know what I'm saying? And that right there, that's going to help us even more if he get more confident and cocky in his game.
Right.
That's what I really, really want. But yeah, just getting a shot, that's not enough for me. I need you to take these shots now. That's
a good point. That's a good point. Because we talk about, he only got 3 shots.
Yeah.
But how many touches did he get?
Yeah, and how many times he turned them shots down?
Right.
Take his shot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point. The other thing I want to point out about Grimes is that Game 5 defense on Jimmy Butler when he played all 48 minutes, like that was a master class right there. So those type of players, they don't grow on trees. Like when we think about 3-and-D guys and we looking around the NBA, either they can shoot the three, Duncan, Hield, a few others at a high rate, but you're not going to get that defense. Or they defending the hell out of the ball, Josh Hart, a few others, but they can't shoot. It's kind of hard to get it in the same package, and we have that. We have that with Grimes. So, listen, there may be some turnover, right? When you look at the championship contending teams, a lot of them don't have a lot of young players. They may have 1, maybe 2. You look at Philadelphia; they got Maxey in their rotation. They don't have a lot. But if we could just keep 1, because we trying to get, just say, I'm not sure what they're going to do. They were looking for more experienced players. Keep Grimes. You need that perimeter defense. And we'll talk about quickly who's a very good, excellent perimeter defender as well, but just doesn't have the girth that, that Grimes has. I don't think you could put Grimes on a Jimmy Butler like you could put, IQ on a Jimmy Butler like you could put Grimes on a Jimmy Butler. And I'm not taking anything away from IQ. He's a terrific defender as well. But the position matters in the NBA. So definitely stock up for Grimes.
And Queen, with that, because you asked the question, we actually answered the question too. And subsequent talk, you said not a question, but you said you hope he earned Tibbs' trust. That just that game, the defense on Jimmy Butler in that game, that alone is enough for him to get Tom Thibodeau's trust. He already had it because Tibbs seen him play and perform that way all season and practice and all that stuff. But on the big stage, to see him put that kind of defense, if he didn't have his trust, like he have it now. So
Yeah, and that was the one leg steal too,
Yep.
right? That game.
Right.
Yeah, but I
Yep.
think to your point, Tibbs liked him from the beginning. Remember, he hadn't even played in the preseason. He was out a few games. He came back, boop, right in the starting line. I said, "Man," he got hurt though. He had to go back out, but he went right into the starting lineup.
Yep.
So I said, yeah, this is a Tibbs guy. You could tell. Put him right in. Did the same thing to Josh Hart. As soon as Josh Hart, he could barely get off the plane. Boop, 30 minutes a game. So yeah. Yeah. Grimes, Grimes is
Queen, I think J Boogie like the sound effect of him getting in the game. Poop.
Yeah. Get in there. Get in there. Coach, what up, Coach? How you doing? Nah, get in there.
right. Yeah, for sure. All right. We'll come back to the forward spots, but we're gonna go stock up, stock down, Mitchell Robinson. This was a little more complicated for me, so I'm gonna go last. But stock up, stock down, Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, that's hard for me. I don't know. Like Mitch got to be almost like a hold. Like I don't think his stock went up or down. Especially going into the season, I don't view him as playing worse than he usually does or better than he usually does. So I don't know. It'll be a hold for me. Hopefully he'll be better than that, and he'll be on the rise starting next season. We saw some more workout videos. Me and Steph saw him shooting threes and stuff.
I can't. And playing one-on-one, nothing but free throws. That's it. I don't want to see no video but free throws.
Mitch out there putting out workout videos of him shooting threes and crossing people over. But yeah, Tibbs not gonna have him doing that. So I'm gonna, if I have to go up or down, I'll say down more than up, but I don't really believe that. For me, it's like a whole. He's pretty much even.
Okay. And I peeped that you went from Denver in 6 to Denver in 5.
Yeah. I'm seeing a couple things.
I'm gonna give our big guy some stock up.
Okay.
It starts when he first got that check. He didn't do all the kiddie stuff that people thought he was gonna do. He didn't allow the money to take over him. For a minute we didn't think if Mitch can handle that money. And I like try to tell people, start trying to figure out what the next person's money is like and how he gonna act with him. Let that person be that person. And the thing about Mitch, Mitch gave, he's really trying. But the thing is, Mitch is not an offensive player, and people need to stop trying to make Mitch more than what he really is. And Mitch need to stop trying to feed into that and try to become something that he's not. If you just realize that, just protecting that rim and rebounding that ball is great as our leading scorer is, then we can go far. Like, for instance, we talked about the 7 offensive rebounds that was given up in a pivotal game 4 in the fourth quarter. Which, if you grab 4 of those defensive rebounds, we might have won that game. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of stock up because I want Mitch to continue on growing. I want him to continue on going in the right direction. I'm scared to give him some stock down because if the team get down on him, he might get down on himself. And we need to find a way to try to lift Mitch up and let him know that you're a very major part of this team. And we're going to go as far as you go, far as protecting that paint. Don't leave that paint alone. Because if you leave that paint undecided for people to do whatever they want to do, then you're going to hinder us from moving forward. But yeah, I got to give Mitch a slightly stock up. And I hope this season when he come back, he averages 2 more rebounds. Maybe at least a half, or if not one, at least a half of a block. Continue on offensive rebounding. Mitch did some monstrous things, but we had and then you can't. That little hip injury he had that affected him a little bit, I believe.
When was that?
He had a little hip injury going on, leading into the playoffs. In the playoffs, That's why you've seen him really limping a lot, you know, in his run, his strive and running ability was not the same, but he continued on fighting through. Every time, you know, when he hit the ground, you know, we all like, oh man. But he gets up, you know, and he continue on trying. But, you know, he's fighting through, and that's why I got to give him a little bit of stock up. He ain't quitting. He ain't giving up. He ain't allowing injuries to get in his way and stuff. He playing. If he's able to be on that floor, he's playing. So, you know, I got to get, you know, the Block Nest Monster just a little bit of love. Say my other ones for the other ones.
My turn. All right. So I'm gonna follow up on what Jay Boogie was saying. I'm gonna give Mitch stock up, but very slight stock up. Because we can't stay steady, all right. I mean, it's you know we got to give something, right? So it's got to be either an improvement or fall off. But and here's why, okay? Mitchell Robinson, when they, I think we kind of talked about the same thing last year when we were grading them. When they signed him, they know exactly what they were signing him for. They didn't sign Mitch to be DeAndre Ayton, to be shooting the mid range, to be doing none of that stuff, to be shooting the floater. They know his game. They pay him $60 million to do that. I think he did what he's supposed to do and then some, because he was a master intimidator down low. You know, I mean, we counting the blocks, we counting the rebounds, but we don't count. They don't keep stats on how many shots he altered or how many people he intimidated. That's also very important. Okay, all that contribute to winning games, if you know what I'm saying. So he did his part, and just for that, I'm giving him stock up. Okay, I would like to see him improve his offensive game. I would like to see him add a little bit of footwork. You know, be able to shoot something if he's 3-4 feet from the basket, and you know, if he's not able to flush it. I'd like to see him keep the rebounds up when he get it, and not bring it down. Have little Kyle Lowry, who's been on crutches all year. I have to mention that. He's been on crutches all year, and then come over there, and they call it a block on Mitchell Robinson because he smacked the ball because Mitch took it low. I'd like him to improve certain aspect of his game, but definitely stock up for me, like ever so slightly, but still up. But like I said, there's a lot of room for improvement, a lot. So there's a lot he's got to work on.
Yeah, I think when I stock up, but a little less slighter than yours. I mean, like slight. Listen, I don't think Mitch is going to get much better. I think the longer you in the league, you who you are. This is 5th year in the league. So I think this is Mitch. And I'm not even talking about Mitch on the offensive end. I've given that up. But the way he played in Cleveland, how he dominated that series, how he thoroughly outplayed Allen and you know and Mobley, just the energy that he played with, it was on another level. And you get that from Mitch. And I'm just talking purely defense. I feel like if you don't have an offensive game, you better be dominant on the defensive end. Like dominant. So I feel like we get those games from Mitch, you know, where he's dominant. And then we get the other games where he's all right. And I get it. The stuff that he does, his pick and roll defense, how he switches out on the perimeter. I get all of it. I get it. But in that Miami series, we could have used Mitch, and they were able to neutralize him. And they didn't even have 7-footers, and they were able to neutralize Mitch. And I know people, in my opinion, make excuses for Mitch as far as his defensive rebound. Oh, he's too far out. There's other centers that switch out, and they still able to get defensive rebounds. I'm not sure why Mitch, when he switches out to the perimeter, he just can't, you know, get a defensive perimeter. It's just not his strong suit. Tibbs said it one time in the press conference. He said he's getting better with his defensive rebounding. So they know, it's an issue. But I stock up, I'm gonna say, because I can't. The way he played in that Cleveland series, he was pretty consistent this year from game to game for the most part. His defensive rebound did rebounding did get better. So I'm gonna say stocks slightly up for Mitch, but I just don't see Mitch getting much better. This is our next year's his 6th year. I mean, right? I think it's his 6th or
No,
5th.
It's fifth.
His 5th year is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at some point you start rounding into who you're going to be as an NBA player. And
No, I thought this year was his 5th. Didn't he played four season on the rookie contract, and then he got extended. So this season was 5.
Yeah, I thought it was
this was his 5th.
Yeah, this was his 5th.
So he's going into his 6th. When you get into your 6th season, you pretty much who you're going to be. And for me, I think it's net positive, net negative. For all that he does on the defensive end, is he doing it at such a high level that we can ignore not just the offense, but the free throw shooting? That's the thing for me. But overall, I'll say stock up, but slight. I would like to just say push. It's a push, but I'll say slightly up. Anything else about Mitch?
Mm-mm. I'm good on Mitch.
All right. Let's move to RJ Barrett. Back up, stock down. In terms of how you feel about RJ Barrett going forward.
Okay, I'll go first again.
Okay.
Yeah, this is tough because now we splitting between like regular season RJ and playoff RJ. So I don't want to try to do what I did with Mitch and do a push. So I'm gonna say maybe stock down for the first time, like a real stock down for RJ. Probably maybe for me, probably because maybe his defense slipped a little bit this year. He obviously wasn't consistent with his shot. He played a lot better in the playoffs. Obviously, he was going to the basket and actually connecting with the stuff that he was going to the basket with, finishing around the rim, actually finding people for the first time all season out of the blue. So it's like a light switch went on for RJ when it came to playoff time. But when it comes to the regular season, he definitely had a lackluster year to me, and mainly because his defense, like on that side of the ball, I didn't like RJ at all season. So for me, it'll be a stock down because of that. Like his defense fell off to me. He was a way better defender, even when he first came into the league, his rookie season and his second season.
Okay. All right. And well, okay. No, you want me to go or you gonna go, Boogie?
No, I'm going to take off. I started to go first, but say.
Oh, my bad, Jay.
No. On the respect, I fell back because he's the opposite of the Fonz, all the way thumb down. I'm not even. Listen, RJ was drafted here as the 3rd pick. We was looking for a face, somebody for this team to belong to. We had nobody here for him to come. We was looking for the face of the franchise. So since he's been here, RJ has never really, to me, had made the move towards like, this is my team. You know what I'm saying? You hear guys and see guys say that all the time. You never even seen RJ say, this my gym, or this my ish, this my building, this my team. So, and I get it, that might not be inside his, DNA far as being a spoken person, but you can't be no nice guy in New York. So, with me, the way I look at RJ right now, his game is the same. I don't see anything else develop. Some more shots are falling. The trade falls a little bit more. He stops every now and then a little bit more on the mid-range, but you're still not finishing at that basket elite. And I mean, what are you adding to your game? You know what I'm saying? You got to give me something to your game. Now I know the playoffs, you look good, but I can't let the playoffs just trick me with what you've been and how you've been looking all these years in New York, and you wanted the money. And everybody be like, oh man, yeah, he wanted to come here. Yeah, who wouldn't want to come here if you know you're not going number one? I don't want to go to Memphis. They banging down there. I want to get to New York. I'd have been saying the same thing. I want to be in New York. I want to play for the Knicks. I'd have been saying, I got roots, I got ties, family, I want to play in I'd have been saying the same thing, just not to get to Memphis, but RJ, you got to do something with your game, man. You for real, you holding us back for multiple years. Now, 1 year I'm gonna give it to you because they probably called you during the you know what I'm saying, during the time when you was working on your game and told yo, Reggie Bullock and all, and we ain't coming back. We need you to be the number one defensive player. So I'm gonna give you that one season. They had you doing something that you probably didn't want to do. But the rest of them, and you got that money, dude, you got to show me something. You got to show me something because I haven't seen it yet. So like with me and RJ right now, and I love his game. It has potential to be here and do even more. But right now, until I see it, I can't lie about no more bars when I write, about your game and all this there. You know what I'm saying? I can't be calling you 9 guard no more and all that stuff. I can't do that no more. Get your game up, RJ. Right now, you should be somewhere working out. Feeling how bad you should be feeling like as you feel. I can't even watch the fight. Yeah, you should not be. What you went 1 for 10 or 1 for 12 or something in that game. So all that what you did in from game 3 of the Cleveland season all the way up until at the game 5 against Miami don't even matter because when the clutch and the biggest lights was on, you did not show up. You did not show up. I'm down with RJ for now.
All right. So my turn. RJ, stock down. Point blank, period. Every aspect of RJ Barrett's game fell off this season, except for his free throw shooting got slightly better. Everything else plummeted. The defense was horrible. Like he was lost on defense. Like especially the first half of the season. Like he was really, really bad. Like aggravating. Have you screaming at the TV bad, kind of. On offense, he hasn't developed anything. Well, that little floater, he's got a little floater. Like he's starting to develop now. That's starting to come along. But like I said, aside from his free throw shooting, like the IQ. After 4 years in the league, you got to be a little smarter. Some of the stuff he does on the court, I mean, that's like, kids do, like, 8th graders do make those mistakes, but he's making them on the basketball court. I don't want to hear that he's 22 because they're not paying you as 22. They're paying you as a basketball player, as a professional basketball player. When you're at the negotiating table, to ask for over $100 million. So it can't be, well, I'm only 22. Nah, you're getting grown men paychecks. You gotta perform like a grown man. All right. I mean, he has the body, he has the physique, he has the strength. He does not have the speed. So he's got to adjust his game to accommodate his body type. Okay. I do expect RJ to get better, but this season it was a very forgettable one. Okay. Yeah, definitely stock down for me.
Wow. Stock up for me with RJ Barrett. And I think partly because I put a lot into, into the playoffs. And I just thought he was, the turnaround was so, you couldn't even explain it. So that had me thinking that maybe it was something mental in the regular season. I mean, he just turned it on, just in terms of his floor game. So I agree with Boogie. I didn't see much difference in his game. It was the same 3-point shots. It was the same driving to the basket. The only difference was that in the playoffs, it was going in, right? So I think if the issue you have with RJ Barrett is that his game hasn't grown much, since he's been in the league, I can't argue, I can't argue with that. But what I like about RJ Barrett is this is a guy who really struggled in the regular season, and he just doesn't lack for confidence. Even in the fourth quarter of some games, he would be 1 for 10, hit a big 3-pointer. In the playoffs, I wasn't even counting on RJ. Like, that's how disgusting. I was like, look, I hope Quickly and Grimes. I was like, we putting a lot of pressure on Quickly and Grimes. They ain't been in the league that long. But if they shut down Brunson and Randle, and they put so much attention on them, we need Grimes and IQ to come through. I wasn't even thinking about RJ Barrett because throughout this regular season, RJ Barrett looked lost in the. He just looked like he was playing his own separate game, like he wasn't even part of the team. Everybody doing what they do when you get a ball of Barrett, y'all might as well sit down. He gonna back it up to the, to the line, to the half court line, and then he gonna. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, so he just seemed like he was just out of sorts, and probably trying to find his place, playing with 2 dominant ball handlers, probably has something to do with it. But his floor game, just the tunnel vision, not making the right play. Oh, it was a disaster in the regular season. I don't care that he averaged 19.6 points. It was a disaster. But then it just flipped, in the playoffs in terms of his floor game. His eyes was open. He was able to drive and see people. I'm like, whoa, who is this guy? His shots was falling. So in terms of what I saw in the regular season, all the way through to the end of the season, stock up. Now, this is the thing with RJ Barrett. Who shows up next year? Playoff RJ Barrett or regular season RJ Barrett? And as much as I'm saying stock up, I still think he needs to go. But as far as this season is concerned, stock up for me. But when we start talking and when we get to the other segment, I think he has to be sacrificed in, for a more balanced team. We need a more balanced team.
You caught me off guard with that.
We talking about now. We ain't talking about right now. Stock is up, but
it's true.
When we start talking about getting making this roster a bit more balanced, some sacrifices are going to have to be made.
True.
All right.
I just look for RJ to kill all year, all season long. Period. You had too many things that led towards your way far as you killing all season. First thing first is you're not checking the number 1 offensive player on defense no more. That's first. Off top, off rip. Second thing is, at best, you get the 3rd worst defensive player on the other team checking you. So those 2 scenarios told me RJ should have been cooking all the way around. I don't care if it's regular season or if it's in playoffs. You supposed to have been cooking. Grimes got the number 1 offensive player. The number 1 and the number 2 and slight number 3 defensive player, because sometimes those 2 guys trap Brunson, but they checking Brunson and Julius. So majority of the time when the ball gets swung to you, he's supposed to be in kill mode. And I just didn't get that. So, dang, you make me feel like I can almost check you. Really? You got, man. We're gonna say that segment though.
Yeah, definitely. That's coming up next. We may not even get to everybody stock up. Maybe we can go quicker for the bench players. All right. Julius Randle, stock up, stock down. For me, I'm gonna lead this one off. I'm gonna say stock up. Now Jarrell was like, what?
Yeah, I would like to hear your explanation, but yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, maybe a push. You know, a part of me wants to say stock up because I'm just looking back to last season, and in my opinion, he was just a disaster. I don't care about that he averaged close to 20 points, 9 rebounds, that it was similar to his prior All NBA season. You watch Julius Randle game in and game out, you knew something just wasn't right. It's taking too long. His emotionality got the best of him. You know, last year he was just off kilter. The whole laptop thing that he was just, you know, and I was confident he would rebound though, and he did. And he came into this season and he was able to put together another All-Star, another All NBA season, kept his emotions, in check. And that's not always easy to do. In the playoffs, though, you talk about somebody who's disappointed. I was really disappointed. And I get the ankle, I get the Jared Allen falling on, the foul, and I get all of that. But you cannot shoot well and still play well. Your floor game could still be sharp. You could still contribute in, other areas. And I just thought that he was just missing in action in terms of his energy, and things of that sort. He just wasn't there. And I don't have a lot of confidence in Randle now as a go-to player. As a go-to player, I don't have a lot of confidence in him as a go-to player. I think can he be, productive on a championship team? I think he can. If he's rebounding and he's scoring, that's fine. But he just hasn't shown me that when I need a bucket, I'm gonna pass the ball to him and he gonna get me one. I don't think, from what I've seen so far, he's built for that. And I hope I'm wrong. So saying all of that, yeah, I'm gonna have to say stock down for Julius Randle. I'm gonna have to change it. I'm gonna have to say stock down for Julius Randle. Because let me just say this last piece. Boogie said RJ is holding us back, but I think Randle is holding us back as well. Can you imagine if regular season Randle is playoff Randle? Then we not out there looking for a star right now. We out there just looking for pieces to put around him and Brunson. But because he's not up to speed, now we got to go out and not get like a OG, not get like a high-end, role player. We got to go out there and see if we can get Giannis. We got to go out there and see if they're going to get off of, a star player, because Randle is not in the playoffs anyway who we expected him to be. So, yeah, I'm going to say slightly stock down for me.
We going this way?
Yeah.
So Julius Randle for me is stock up. Not even slightly up, but well up. And I'll tell you why. Julius Randle, I mean, all the comeback stuff, all the, the turnaround you mentioned, Queen, from last year, that was tremendous. I mean, I thought he was done. Last summer, I would have been happy if they got rid of him, because he was done here. Like, he was done. The fans were done with him. The media, everybody was done with him. Looked like he was done with the team, with all the pushing teammates around, smacking down iPads and all that good stuff. Like, looked like he was done. He turned it around and he gave us the best season of his career. Okay, because he played better than Bubble Jew. Okay, this year. So, and if you had any doubt that Randle was good, take it from the basketball minds of the world who selected him to be in the All-Star. I mean, those are the coaches who selected him to be an All-Star. I mean, we could say those guys, they know hoops, they know basketball, right? So I trust their judgment. I don't do regular season playoff. I kind of do it as a whole. And as a whole, Julius Randle was instrumental to this team's success. He was very vital. Now, a lot of people are down on him, including me. In the playoffs, he doesn't show up. Like you said, if he had just played regular in the playoffs, and we were talking about that backstage before we came live, if he had played not even regular, even slightly less than what he'd normally play in the regular season, we probably would still be playing. We wouldn't be doing this show. We'd be watching the game right now because the Knicks would have been in the finals right now, right? Having said that, everybody on every show, every one of these shows, every one of these content providers, everyone in the chat, there's one thing they know about Julius Randle. He is not a number one guy. We cannot expect him to be a number one guy. He's not your first guy. Okay. Now we know we have somebody who's come before Julius in the packing order, Jalen Brunson. But Julius Randle, he's not gonna lead you to a championship. We know that. So I don't know why we expected any different. I didn't expect that from him. I was happy to get the regular season we got from him. And for that, stock up for Julius Randle.
Before I bring Freezy in, so when you say you don't know why we were expecting that, so you're saying that going into the playoffs, you didn't expect what we saw in the regular season to continue in the playoffs because he's not a number one. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, pretty much. And I didn't even expect, even in the regular season, every game I expect Julius Randle to revert back to last year Julius Randle. But he kept on pushing and pushing and pushing. So he had a great, like a superb regular season. I mean, he didn't make the All-Star team or the NBA third team for nothing. He had a monster of a regular season. And yeah, definitely stock up for him.
Okay. All right, let me let Freezy in, and then Boogie, and then Zarel, and then we'll get to Freezy. Hey, Freezy.
Hey, boss. How you doing?
What's up,
You doing
Freezy?
good? How are you?
Salute, Freezy.
I'm okay.
What's good, my guy?
What's good, boss?
All right, so we're gonna go Boogie, then Jarrell, and then we'll come around to Freezy. We doing stock up, stock down.
Well, everybody know Julius is my guy. Everybody know that. But I can't give Julius a pass because I need Julius to become hungry. I have to give him his stock down because I already know what you can do in the regular season. I already know that you're an all-star. That's regular season. I know all that. But you played with my second greatest ball player, may he rest in heaven, that's Kobe Bean Bryant. And you know and understand when Kobe used to say, what was his favorite? First he did that lip. I don't care nothing about being MVP in the regular season. I need you to give me MVP in June. You come from that. You know what it is and learn from what it is through that man. And playoffs matter.
Right. Kobe was the same dude that begged for help when Shaq left, though. Kobe was the same dude that begged the Lakers to go trade for Pau Gasol and all that. Kobe was the same dude that begged Shaq and criticized Shaq for getting in shape because he thought Shaq threatened his thing. Kobe needed help.
That's not my line, though, Freezy. Pardon yourself.
Nah, man, I'm just.
But that's not my line. Pardon yourself. My line is when Kobe used to understand and tell the people, playoff trophies.
Was Kobe not? Kobe wasn't a great player though.
But Uncle, let him finish. You know, let him finish.
No, I'm just okay. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm hearing because it sounds like Julius Randle not doing things in the playoff with a flawed roster is the same as Kobe winning championships with Pau Gasol and Shaq. That's what it sounded like to my ear.
Right. I don't think that's what he was saying, but let him finish, and then you can ask your clarification.
I just want to make sure. Okay. All right.
You Freezy came in hot.
Yeah, I know you like Julius, dude, but you know, I mean, like I said, Julius is. Everybody know I'm really a fan of Julius Randle, but until you start doing these things in the playoffs, and being that guy in the playoffs, that dependable guy. And you don't even have to average 25 points, but give me them necessary buckets when we go to you, and they really need to be made. Them timely buckets, them daggers. You know what I mean? This is what I need from Julius in the playoffs. I know you're going to the All-Star game next season and all that. I know that. I know you're going to put up the double-double. I know that. I know you probably top 3 power forwards in the game. I know that. You might be number 1 power forward with second power. I know you're second power forward, I think, in the East. But when you play against your baby brother can't even show you up. You punt it, your baby brother come from behind you at Kentucky. In the off season, when y'all work out, sometimes you go back to your old schools and work with the younger guys that's there and help you get along. You're playing in those gyms and all that during that time. You can't let your baby brother outwork you. And I think Julius averaged the most points during the regular season against Miami than he did against any other team. So you already pretty much know that you're supposed to crush them guys. But, you know, I can't give him a stock up on things that I know that he is. I need to be able to give you the stock up on some playoff modes. You know, that's what I need Julius to do. I don't need the regular season guy, which is helpful. I know in the first quarter, you open the first quarters. I know you hit the most trades in the first quarter. I know all that. I know how you open the game and Jalen was closing the game. I know and understand that. But timely moments, I need buckets to be made by Julius Randle. And those buckets are called daggers. And until I get that, I'm just gonna be like, all right, well, good game, Julius, or good, you know, whatever. We won. Until I see the other things I need to see from Julius. Contract is great. Great contract. He overfilling his contract. Great contract. But you know, you're only good as your last game. That's some of the things they say in the league. You're only good as your last game. And his last game is not there for me.
Okay. All right. Jabal?
Julius, excuse me. Julius Randle had a very good season. All-Star season, all NBA third team. But unfortunately, it did not continue in the playoffs. So I guess his stock has to be down. Like, just for the sake of this exercise, it's not like I don't want to get rid of Julius Randle. If we did, it would have to be, you know, somebody that's better than him, a good package that will actually, you know, make this team better. I don't want to just trade him for any ham sandwich. But for the sake of this exercise, since he did not show up in the playoffs, the stock has to be low. Like, we expected more from Julius Randle, just because he was our all-star. He was our all-NBA player on the third team. And he did not play like that, regardless of any of the excuses anybody will give him with the ankle or, you know, the defense that Miami was playing on. Like, everybody has to play. And Julius Randle had a lackluster playoff. So just for that alone, I would have to get stock down going into next season.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's not even that his scoring average went down. I get it. You know, you're playing in, you're a power forward, you're a center, you're playing in less space. It's easier for them to double team you. It's easier for them to crowd you. It's easier for them to, like, I get that. But just the other aspects of his game just wasn't there. Emotionally and mentally, he just looked out of it to me in that Miami series. And we've seen him take plays off defensively. We've seen him not rotate to spots defensively. That's not new. But he just seemed out of it. Like that edge in the regular season, drawing at the refs, really being into it. I didn't see that from Randle. I'm not sure what's going on with him. And guess Freezy was like, you know what? I can't stand it. I can't stand it. You know, and boop, he's gone. Freezy is gone. But Freezy, come back and join us and give your opinion. We don't all have to, we don't all have to agree. Like I said, I'm looking at Julius from a chip lens. And I still think that he can be a valuable piece on a championship team. He's just not a a go-to guy. And I don't feel like because you're not a go-to guy that's an excuse for me to lower my expectations in the playoffs. Like,
yeah.
All right.
I hope that's not why Freezy left, though. I doubt it.
Yeah, maybe he had internet issues.
Yeah, that ain't like Freezy.
Yeah.
The host of Blanche Tears.
Right. right.
I just looked down and seen he was gone. I hope
Salute to Freezy, man.
Shout out to Paris Duggar. Either Randle or RJ got to go because they're the same player under Tibbs. Bad game awareness. Same offensively. Me first. If Tibbs stays, I keep RJ because he's a gamer at least. If Tibb goes, I keep Randle. I hear you. All right, let's go through the other ones really, really quick. Stock up, stock down. IQ.
Stock up.
Stock up for okay. You go ahead, Ajay. You guys stock up first. Go ahead.
For IQ, listen, he stepped up his game this season in many ways. He showed a lot of things we suspected, we felt he could do, and he did. The first part of the season was struggling, but he improved throughout the season. He didn't show up in the playoffs, but like I said, for the other players, I don't really separate playoff and regular season. I look at it overall. Overall,
I think we're all looking at it overall, Ajay. I think we just put in a little more on the playoffs because we want to win a championship.
Well, all right,
yeah,
I got you.
When I say stack up, I'm taking the regular season and the playoffs. I'm just giving a little edge to the playoffs.
The way I look at it, right? Before the season, if IQ was being traded, he could have easily been traded for a draft pick. At the end of the season, you're not trading IQ for a draft pick. You trade him for something more substantial than that. Stock up for IQ. That's how I look at it. I mean, his defense, we see this year like how his defense is on point. He's an excellent defender. And the offense is on and off, but more on than off. But yeah, he's definitely getting better and better and better. So stock up for United quickly.
Jarrell?
No,
Boogie. And Boogie, the next time you going first. Just remind me about
I don't hey, I'm following the six. I'm a guess. My stock is up for quickly. This is another year where they try to force him to make him become something that he's not. You know what I'm saying? Not having a backup point guard, trying to make him into one and everything. He played through all that. He gave us a lot of great moments. Second runner up to sixth man of the year. I'm not going to get too much down on him, towards, in the playoffs, even though his game would have helped out. But, still in all, he's a bench player, which he is a big part of our team, because it was one point in time during the season, I was saying that, that IQ was our third best player. But I got to give his stock up. He's constantly playing out of position. And if we could get another point guard, that can come back in with him, and have him at his natural position, is he don't have to be that guy, you know what I'm saying, get everybody else involved, just fire, catch and shoot, do those things, and we on to something. But IQ gave us a great season. I feel like he's going to go work out and come back even a little bit stronger than what he done this year. I think he don't like how he ended this season. I think he's going to take that and remember that and hold that against himself and come back even stronger as a player. That's if he's here.
Okay. And we're gonna get into that next.
Right.
Jarrell?
Yeah, stock up for me too. He had a good year. Came in second to six man of the year. Hopefully, like J Big Boogie said, like he can actually play off ball a lot more next year, and we get a backup point guard. But yeah, then just to do it real quick because I know we running on time. Like, yeah, stock up for quickly. Like he had a good year.
Yeah. I'm gonna say stock up. I'm gonna give him a pass because this is his first time in the playoffs in the particular role that we wanted him to be in. I was, I wanted him to play better, and he just didn't. He just didn't. But coming into the season, I wasn't as high on quickly as a lot of other fans was. I thought his decision making and his shot selection had to get better, and it did. And I thought that when he played, when Brunson was out and he had to be the starting point guard, I thought he ran the team, really well. I think this, decisions have to be made. We'll talk about that in the next segment. But I'll say stock up for quickly, though he has to get better in the playoffs. All right, let's run it around. Isaiah Hartenstein, stock up for me.
Yeah, stock up for me. There's nothing really that much you can say about Isaiah Hartenstein. Stock up because I think he can actually do more on the floor than he, showed this past season. I actually think he could probably shoot the three a little bit better than what showed this season, and hopefully, Tibbs will allow him to let that go. Because at first he was letting it go a little bit in the beginning of the season, but it wasn't falling, so he got out of that quick though. Like maybe like the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, iHeart was shooting threes, and then it just fell off. So hopefully his stock is up, and we can get the ball in his hands. He could be more of a playmaker next year too. But stock up for me.
Big time stock up for Hartenstein. I'm trying to figure out, did we have the best backup center in the league? I'm thinking we had him definitely in the East. I don't know, but that plays a major role, major part for us, the squad. And then he's, later on as he got more comfortable and understand what New York is about, you seen his grit come out. He started playing with some, like some thump to his game, like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go to war. And he showed that. Even showed that against Miami when dude was trying to get Julius to jump out his character, the dude Zeller, whatever his name, with the mask on, and he ran up on him like, "Yo, nah, dude, we ain't get ready to do none of that." You know what I'm saying? And and I thought we need more of those type players on this team. When guys try to push over a guy, you need to be running up on these guys and let them know what time it is. Instead of this is New York. We don't go for that. So I like what Hartenstein brought to the table. I thought he had a nice contract. He fulfilled his contract out his first year, and no matter how, if his game was good or a bad game, he always tried to play hard, and I really appreciate that. Whether it's sometimes he might be soft, not finishing, but he always came to play every night when he put that uniform on. He was always ready to go when they called his number. When they take him out of the game, he ain't never pouting. You know what I'm saying? He just became a New York Knicks bruiser type guy. And I like that of Hartenstein. I think that's a good guy that we got as a backup. And Mitch better be careful.
Ajay?
Stock up, definitely stock up for iHeart.
No. Yeah, iHeart. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
He consistent, Queen. Did he do what he was supposed to do? Right. He did his job and then some. iHeart. He filled in nicely for Mitchell Robinson. At some point, Mitchell Robinson was out. Jericho Sims started, but his minutes went up, and he filled in nicely. At the center spot. He, of course, he gives us, like Jay Boogie was saying, the effort is always there with Isaiah Hartenstein. Every night. I mean, I haven't seen him, not every play. And every play, like, sometimes he's just out muscled and out hustled, but his effort is undeniable. He always comes in, he always plays. He's obviously he's got better offense than Mitch. He's got that little floater thing going on for him, and he's got a better range than Mitchell Robinson. But he's a very good rebounder. He's not a bad defender. Okay, so it is a drop off from Mitchell Robinson, but it's not a tremendous drop off where we can't put this guy when we need defense. If Mitchell Robinson's in foul trouble, you can be comfortable. You put Isaiah Hartenstein in there, and he's gonna do the best job that he possibly can. It's not gonna be a huge drop off from Mitchell Robinson, and he's gonna give you some offense. He did his job. What he was paid to come here and do, he did it and then some. By the way, you see my signature there under my name, people? Hit that like button. I haven't said it tonight. I'm hoping people will read that under my name. But yeah, definitely stock up for iHeart.
Let me read this real quick. And I appreciate the chat. The chat has been very active tonight. Thank you guys for always showing up. Joel said, I'm not a fan of Randle, but you can't say Randle stock is down and quickly stock is up. That certified crazy talk. IQ was nowhere to be seen in the playoffs. He was worse than Julius. I agree. I just think I had higher expectations of Randle than I had for a third year player. This was his first time in his role. But you're absolutely right,
That
Joel.
is an excellent point. Excellent point.
He was worse than Randle. He was
worse than Randle, but it's a reason. I think there's still reasons why you can go stock up and stock down for either one of them. Yeah. It just depends on what the factors are. Like IQ is younger. He's a lot younger. This is his first real experience playing his role, like you said. So yeah, I expected more from Julius Randle. That's why his stock is down compared to IQ.
Okay. Josh Hart, stock up. I don't want to hear nothing about that Miami series.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he came here. He was great. Oh, wait, no. Jay Boogie, I said you would go first. Go ahead, Boogie.
Josh Hart, another member of the Five Heartbeats. Can't say Hartenstein without saying Josh Hart. Man, the dude came in and took off with us, but so immediately fast with us, man, and gave us a whole nother dimension and a whole nother demeanor when everybody thought they was got used to what we doing. He gave us a whole different look. He gave us another gear, another spark. He brought that to the table. Unfortunately, some of the things that happened in the Miami series, it made you wonder. But as far as us sending that pick over there for this guy and all that, man, we wasn't going to get nobody on the caliber of that guy or this guy's game coming up out this draft. Not that late, you know what I'm saying? Remember, we finished with a hell of five. We finished number 5 in the East. I think it would have been top 3 or something like that in the West. So with that pick that was ours, we wasn't going to get nobody like that for him. I'm up with Josh, just he never been in the playoffs. He never experienced that. So I think that, played his part. His game ran out where as far as they know and understand what type of player he is and what he's going to do, it ran out. So now you got to retool your game and bring something else, add something else to your game, you know what I'm saying, and come back next season because we will be another playoff team. We won't be a play-in team. We'll be another playoff team. And I think Josh is going to be ready next year. So, I give him some stock up for what he brought to the table and what he's able to do. And at times, Tom going mad and make him play out of position. Yo, you're gonna play the 5 tonight, or you go get Mitch. Tom get a little crazy and stuff. But yeah, my stock is up on Josh, man. I think he works for the city, he works for the organization, and he reminds me of a real New York, gritted iron type ball player. So stock up for Josh Hart for me.
Stock up for me too. I think people was giving him a lot of grief over that Miami series. Go back and look at him in that Cleveland series. He was lights out. So much so that Tibbs was like, maybe, Grimes ain't looking too right. Maybe we should go with Josh Hart in that Miami series. It was because of how he played in that Cleveland series. He was rebounding in traffic. His 3-point shooting, I think, was 40 something. Like, he was just amazing in the Cleveland series, and he struggled in the Miami series, and he wasn't the only one. But now, because he struggled in the Miami series, like, oh my God, he got exposed. Now he shouldn't get paid. Now we just can't be going like so up and down. He's a role player. And on championship teams, you need those glue guys. You need those high-end role players. And that's what he is, a high-end role player that does a little bit, everything. He's not a starter, in my opinion. Can you start him in a pinch? Yeah, you can. I've been on teams, and I've even coached teams where you designate one position for your best defender, whether they can shoot or not, or one position, for your all, utility person, whether they score or not, because you got those other 4 guys there. So in that, if you running your team that way, yes, he can start. But for the most part, I think he's a 6th man, 7th man. He's going to come off the bench and he's going to be really, really good for you. And this was his first time in the playoffs. Next year, I anticipate he'll be even better. I want to answer this from Sharon before we get to Ihar shot 21% from 3. Why do you guys want him to shoot more threes? Well, for me, I think that on more volume, his percentage may increase. And then I also think that if he's able to stretch the defense, because we got to figure out what's the average for centers. It's not league average, right? The average for centers is probably less than that. So if he can shoot league average for centers, it just creates more space, just creates more spacing for us. But that's the reason, Sharon. I just think if he shoots more, he gets more volume, his percentage may go up.
And like you said, I wanted to answer that too. Like it's a short sample size, just like the year before. Like this past year, he shot 21%, but the year before, he shot almost 50%. Both years were like small sample sizes, but you could tell that he can actually shoot them. So the more he shoots, the more comfortable he can get shooting them, and hopefully he'll make them. And, it helps us win games.
Okay. And your grade on Hart, did you say stock up, stock down?
I can go real quick. Stock up on Josh Hart. He pretty much does everything for us off our bench. Next year, matter of fact, if he was on our squad the whole season, I think he might have replaced IQ for like being close to being the 6th man of the year. So I'm actually looking forward to him being on the team. Hopefully we can re-sign him, and I want to see him like a whole year on the Knicks. He's only been on our team for half a season, so yeah, made a big impact. He'll make a bigger impact next year.
Okay.
And don't have him handling the ball neither.
No,
he's a backup point guard, man.
We need a backup point guard. You're absolutely
right. But that's the problem. Like, we get on guys for the mistakes that they made, but a lot of times we're putting them in position. I think this was one of the points Freezy was trying to make. We're putting them in positions they shouldn't be in because of the clunky roster construction.
Right.
Well, we'll get into that because that's going to be a big part of the next segment. You construct this roster in a way you have the ball handlers. Josh Hart don't have to be the ball handler on your second team.
Right.
You know? Anyway, Ajay, did you do stock up, stock down?
No, I didn't. So for Josh Hart, it's very cautious stock up. And I say cautious because we didn't have him for the whole season. I don't know what we'd get out of him for a whole season. I mean, I could be very comfortable, 80% comfortable we're going to get that and then some, probably more from him next season when he plays the full season here. But it's a very easy stock up for me, and for a couple of reasons. One, we got out of him much more than we would get in that position. Cam Reddish, right? We were getting nothing from him because he wasn't playing. Not that he wasn't good. I don't want to go into that, but he wasn't getting the minutes. This guy was getting the minutes and he was producing. So that's one thing. And the second thing is when they traded him, I hated the fact that we give up our own first round pick for him. I felt we could have given like one of them Washington top 18 protected joints, but it was not disappointing. I think he was worth, they know what they were doing. They know what they were getting. So for that, and of course, he affects winning in a lot of ways, in defense, rebound. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the size that we would want for a guy to be doing everything he's doing. But even with his limits, he's still able to give us some good production on the court. So because of that, he's definitely stock up for me.
All right. Did we miss anybody? So when we go with the rest of the players, just stock up, stock down, like a sentence.
Obi.
Oh, I forgot. Obi Toppin. Sorry.
Yeah, I only need a sentence. Stock down. He did nothing to get it up.
Oh boy! Wow. Okay. Okay.
You said a sentence.
No. I thought we did Obi, who's in the rotation. So if you want to say a little more for Obi, you can.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
He didn't do nothing.
You want me to go, Jay?
Man, he just threw me off of that. I'm still, matter of fact, stock stuck. Because I'm stuck.
He didn't do nothing.
It could go either way, flip a coin, could be stock up or stock down, but I'm more or less probably going to go stock down because you can't continue on pouting about, because Julius is in that spot, dude. You got to do something to your game, bring something else to your game, whereas you can look like you could be on the floor with Julius. Maybe you could slide beat a three. Maybe, small ball, you can, do that type thing. But you don't possess those type skill sets, whereas you could be on the floor with Julius. So you're allowed, because Julius is in that position and that he's in your way. No, you have to take something if you want to be involved with something. So, to me, Obi hasn't learned how to fight, for what he want to become. And right now here in New York, his stock is I want it to be all the way up because I want to, wait till the next segment and do something with him. But right now, he's making it hard on me with his stock down. I might be stuck with him.
For me, Obi Toppin is a stock up, ever so slightly up, but it's a stock up. I disagree that he didn't improve his game. With the limited minutes that he's had this season, I think Obi's showed a lot more than he showed in the past. His three-point shot has gotten a lot better. There's more effort on the defense, more so than the previous year. It's not great, it's not good, but it's better than it's been in previous years. He tries to rebound a little bit more, and he showed us more than just running and just being a dunker, right? I mean, we've seen a couple of him put the ball on the floor, drive to the basket a little bit. We got to remember, Obi, his minutes are very inconsistent. So it's very tough for somebody to get in any kind of groove or any kind of rhythm when you get, sometimes he plays 8-10 minutes, and he comes in, shoot a couple of air balls, and they take him out. After the 2 air balls, the next 5 might have been hidden, but he just didn't get the minutes. Like I said, at the beginning of the season, what would Obi Toppin have been traded for, and what he could be traded for now? At the end of the season, you can get more from him now than you would have gotten at the beginning of the season. So his stocks is up for me.
Yeah, Obi Toppin's stock is up for me as well. He's still not somebody I would re-sign, but his stock is up, for similar reasons. I thought his 3-point shooting got better. I thought you saw flashes in terms of him putting the ball on the floor. I thought his rebounding was better. I thought his defensive awareness was better. And in that Cleveland series, let's not forget, Obi did not look shook at all. When I was sitting there wondering what's going on with IQ, what's going on with I didn't think Randle was shook though, but out of the young guys, Grimes looked a little off kilter. IQ looked a little off kilter. Obi did not in that game. However, in the Miami series, and this is the issue. Yeah.
I want to say real quick, just along the line of what you're saying, when Julius Randle went out in that, he came in, he just killed them. He came in and he produced like off the charts, and we won the game. So he came in and filled in for Julius Randle flawlessly. But
well,
I just want to say that while you were still talking about it.
And then the Miami, I think it was the Miami series when Randle didn't play. He had 18 and 8. But this is the issue with Obi, and this is going back to what Jay Boogie was saying. The issue I have with Obi. Randle is out. You drop 18 points, 8 rebounds. Really good game. And that was just through 3 quarters. I don't think he played much in the 4th quarter. Randle comes back. Your minutes go back to what they was before. Now, all of a sudden, you looking nervous. Now you're coming in the game, you're shooting the air ball. So I just feel like, to me, with Obi, his confidence is shook too easily for me. And I just think if you're going to be successful in this league, you got to have that internal confidence. Like, everybody is blaming Tibbs. Oh, because Tibbs, your confidence would be shaken too. No. McBride was out of the rotation when Josh Hart came. When they interview him, he'd be like, nah, my confidence is not shook. Obi's confidence is too easily shook. But all of that being said, I still think I think his stock was up. But that part of Obi, that confidence part, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. And I peeped that from the beginning. Oh, he's yelling at me from the bench. I get up. Nah, come on, yo. I mean, you play basketball. You have coaches like that be on you for nothing, just riding you for nothing. You got to find a way to work yourself through it. We talking about possible generational wealth for your family. You know what I mean? Come on. You gotta, I just think he needs to toughen up a little bit. And in my opinion. All right. I think the only person we got left is McBride and Sims. So for both of them, stock up in the limited roles that they had, which doesn't mean that they can't improve. I really need McBride to start knocking down some shots though. But for what we asked him to do, which is to come in and just play defense, because he doesn't even run the second team. I'm talking myself. I'm talking myself into a stock that, but I'm gonna still say stock up for those two.
I'm gonna give Deuce his stock up and rock with him like that, because one thing was sure, it's hard to come into a game and not knowing if you're playing, if you're gonna not play, you're gonna be used, not gonna be used. Every day this guy comes in there with his game face on, and no matter when it is or how long it's been since he played, he always come into that game like, he's used to coming in at this certain time of the game. So I just need Deuce. You gave Jalen his time. You're supposed to give him his time. His first year, let him get himself together in the city, figure out what he need to do. Now, during this part time, you need to be knocking on Jalen's door and tell him, when you go work out, I need to be coming with you, because I need to get those ins and out, those crafty moves and all that. If you're not working out with Jalen Brunson during this summer, then you're not dedicated to your game.
Don't come back.
Yeah, you can say that too. Yeah, you can say that too. But I need some dedication, because Brunson is not. He's not fast. He's not even quick, but he understands the ins and outs, the angles and all that. Andre Miller was like that. You know what I'm saying? I understand the ins and outs, the angles. How do you know what I'm saying? The cut against your, you know what I'm saying, your back defensive pivot. Do all that. And this is what Deuce need to add to his game. So get in the gym with Jalen and up your game. Sim, be honest, I ain't never been a Sim dude. You know,
Really?
I'm type dude, I want them young guys out of college. When you play in 3 and 4 years, I stick to my logo. It took you too long to develop in college. You don't have it. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not a Sim guy. I rock with him because he's on the team, because I'm a team guy. But I could do something else with Sim. I don't care if we got him at the end or nothing. Use a 4-year, be honest, use a 4-year big man bust from Texas, when all them big men that come from Texas all been elite players. You know what I'm saying? And they got a long list of Texas guys that come up out of there that know how to play basketball. And you don't even have a jump hook, a turnaround 8-footer, none of that. You'll take off and jump from the free throw line for no reason. I need him to understand basketball. I'm not really a Sim. Stock down. Matter of fact, stock down with Sim with me.
Okay.
AJ, you want to go?
Yeah. So, that's a tough one. Like, you don't see enough of those guys.
Right.
Juice. Listen, for the little time that they play, they play better. But then they play better than what? I mean, last year you really you saw very little of them. But you could definitely see the improvement. Deuce McBride, like you said, Queen, he needs to start knocking some shots down. I mean, he goes over there in the G League. I mean, he's killing it, like 25, 27 points. But you come in the NBA, you wide open for threes. It's the same basket, the same distance, the exact same thing, and you're clunking it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the defense is on point. That's definitely, you gotta talk about that. And he showed us this year why he's an elite defender. He's not elite, but he's a great defender. If you give him minutes, he could only get better. And I think we probably could have used him in the playoffs. When you had Gabe Jordan killing us, you could have put Deuce on him, temper him a little bit. I think it would have made a difference. Same thing with Jericho Sims.
Then if we would have been playing 4-on-5 on the offensive end, and if Mitch was there 3-on-5.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. That's why his offense needs to get better. But same thing with Jericho Sims. Like Jay Boogie mentioned, you got to develop something. It can't just be you flushing. You got to develop something else. But overall, those guys are positive to the team. They stock slightly up. Not great. I mean, those guys, they're not going to make or break the team. So if at the beginning of next season you don't see them, we're not going to miss a beat. Okay, we're going to be just fine. So they're not going to make a difference to the team, at least not the way they contributed this past season. But you could see small improvements. So for both of them, stock up. But Queen, we got to do Tibbs. Those are not the last two. We got to do Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna. We might have to. Then we not. So if we do Tibbs, then we're not gonna do the who would you keep, and that's on the thumbnail. So you don't want to be doing what they call So I mean, if we're gonna do it quick, I just think Tibbs needs a larger.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do coaching staff next show.
Yeah, I think Tibbs need a larger.
I think Queen's avoiding doing the Tibbs thing, but yeah, go ahead. We'll do it next show.
Yeah, I mean, we could. To me, it's stock up, but we can because we talking about the whole season, right? Stock up. Now this is what Ajay. Let me tell you what Ajay gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
For the players, the regular season,
But
you're gonna minimize the playoffs, but for Tim,
Yep.
you're gonna maximize the playoffs because
Yep.
he's set.
the players be 90% of the grade.
Right. Good. AJ be grading on a curve, yo. I don't know if y'all noticed.
No, we can
I
do
mean,
that.
we can if we want to do Tibbs real quick.
We could do it real quick. No,
Yeah.
no. For me, Tibbs is a stock up. Believe it or not. He showed a lot of different things that he did. I didn't know he could do. in him. Like he showed a lot of versatility a lot of times. I mean, he's still not where we want him to be, but we know the roster we have, guys. We watched more Knicks games than everybody else, who not Knicks fans. We know what he has in the roster, and he's able to look at it from last season to this season. He took it where we're last season. We completely missed the play-in. This season, we got knocked out in the second round. Okay, of course, they added Jalen Brunson and Isaiah Hartenstein, and it's not the exact same roster, but he obviously knows what he's doing. Maybe what he's doing is not enough. It's not going to get us to the championship, but he knows what he's doing, and he's hell bent on doing what he's doing. It remains to be seen. To be seen how successful we're going to be with Thibodeau at the helm. I don't think he could take us to the championship, but I guess that's a different conversation for another time. But overall, for this season, how can it not be stocks up? I mean, the team, we ended up 5th seed in the regular season, and in the playoffs, we made it all the way to the second round, and literally lost the game because our starting lineup minus Jalen Brunson shot 15%. I mean, you're not gonna win. Listen, if we played a high school team, with that kind of shit, we would lose that game anyway. With the rest of the starting lineup shooting 15%. So yeah, stocks up for Tom Thibodeau.
I'm way up out of the building with the stock up on Tom. I rock with Tom all the way around. I think I mentioned it before. You know what I'm saying? Tom came here, there ain't nobody here but Leon. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time when a coach come in, they bring their own situation. Don didn't bring nothing. Leon handpicked everybody and put them on the side of the bench with him. I don't know these guys. I don't know none of them. But you gave me Woody and you gave me Payne. You know what I'm saying? Those are two guys, that I could rock with and I can understand because one, Woody been here before. He's a good offensive backup minded coach, and he's an offensive guy. So me and him can work hand in hand. But when Woody split and he leave, and then following Payne, he leaves, he gone down. You know what I'm saying? Y'all get on me about developing the young players, but you ain't looking at the fact I gotta develop the coaching staff. Who do I got over here with me? I got nothing over here on this bench with me. But you want me to do all this and that. My stock is way up for Tom. He's here. He didn't bring nobody here. He gave him everybody, that he wanted. He handpicked his bench staff, everything, you know what I'm saying? And he just got I think Tom is really the glue of what we got going on, how we win in games and everything. Leon, that's his man. I think he needed Tom, you know what I'm saying? And he needed somebody else to come in that can understand what it is to be a coach, maybe understand the city and everything a whole lot, man. But I can't take nothing away from Tom, you know what I'm saying? Put the right pieces around Tom all the way on the coaching staff and on the floor. You bringing back all these guys coming, Larry Johnson, all these guys coming back, Marcus Camby and all this Spreewell. I don't know what they do. Get these dudes on the bench. Larry Johnson, you mean to tell me you can't come and work out with Julius or get him up and be a coach or something with him? Same go to Marcus Camby. You can't work out with Mitchell Robinson. All that plays his part, man. Spreewell, you can't come and work out with RJ. You know what I'm saying? You can't be amongst the coaching staff if you're handpicking everybody. Put them type guys over there next to Tom. Then we'll look like something. You look over there in Miami, you see Alonzo Mourning. You see Bob McAdoo. You see, you know what I'm saying? You probably still see, you don't see him because he's in Michigan. But you see all types of players that used to be over there that's over there. Why you think Tim Hardaway, he left us? Because of Miami. You're going to stick with your family roots. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, he didn't know we was going to play there. So, I'm out of here. I can't go back to Miami and I'm part of the Knicks. Nah, get the right people in the right situations, man. But, yeah, man, I'm all the way up with Tom, man. I think Tom is just not getting a fair shot and everything. You talking about how I don't develop. I don't critique certain parts of the game and all that. Like I said, maybe I don't ran out of damn options. I ever thought about that? Ain't got nothing else to do. Nothing else to look at. Nobody else to ask. Nobody else to help me do nothing. That's why I stay up at the scores desk. I ain't going down there with them guys. I'm telling you that, man. I'm gonna keep wearing my same jeans with no belts, man, till you get me some help around here. Pants sagging and everything, man. Got me feel like I'm on the block.
I said that's how Tibbs be standing all game. He be standing like this.
Yeah.
At the scores table, not looking over there at all.
Don't look at for what? What look down there for? I tell you about my man. He got a whole pack of bubble gum and he got his own bowl. He bought a pack of bowl. Othello Harrington. He just walk up and get a stick of gum. Nah, man, get these jokers up out of here, man.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna follow that. I didn't actually give my stock up or stock down for Sims and
okay.
Bride, but yeah, I'll do it real quick. It's probably a slight stock down for both of them, simply because I don't know what their role is going to be on the team next year. Like, we still need a backup point guard, and since Deuce is a backup point guard, it's kind of hard for me to say his stock is up. Like, even much as I like him, I'm just talking about like his role on the team. That's how I'm grading the stock up or stock down.
Right.
Because for me, like personally, him as a player is a stock up, but I'm just talking about for the Knicks, for us next year.
Right. Like, we had a backup point guard, and Brunson basically played the whole.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, he wasn't ready, in my opinion.
Right. And going into next season, I still don't, I will have to see it first, see Tom Thibodeau actually give him the minutes at backup point guard to be our secondary our primary ball handler when Jalen Brunson goes out. Sims, I don't think he played enough for me to even, and so it's a slight stock down for him too. I don't even know if he's going to be on the team next year.
He did start 16 games in Mitchell Robinson's absence.
He did, and Mitch does get hurt. And Isaiah Hartenstein, even though he played every game, he was hurt towards the beginning of the season too, right?
He said his Achilles, yeah.
Yeah, with his Achilles. When it comes to Tibbs, man, like, I'm not the biggest Tom Thibodeau fan, but I'm still not giving him a stock down because of what he did this season. And I primarily don't think that he was the reason that we lost in the playoffs. Like, our team didn't shoot well and didn't show up during the Miami series, especially that last game. Like, I don't agree with every decision that he makes. I don't agree with his offense or how he even do things, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't give him a stock up, because I really don't think he's going anywhere. I think not only is he has 2 years on his contract still left, right?
I believe so.
So for the people that don't like Tibbs, I think you're in for a rude awakening, because if the front office is signed to an extension, Tom Thibodeau is going to be signed to an extension too. He's not going anywhere.
I don't think so.
As long as they're here, like, this team will have to completely crap the bed next season for Tom Thibodeau to get fired by this front office. I don't see it at all.
I don't think they're going to extend him, but that's my opinion.
Much as you don't think they're going to extend him?
No.
How you not extend a coach that got you had the 5th seed?
Yeah.
The Knicks was trash before he got here, and I like Tom Thibodeau. I don't agree with everything he does either. How can you not, like Jarrell said, unless we don't make the playoffs next season, how can you not extend him?
To me, he would have to bottom out, because we getting all his players that he won and everything. How do you bring Josh Hart here and like re-sign Josh Hart but don't re-sign Tibbs?
So we make the playoffs next year. We make the playoffs the year after. I mean, what's the point now? Just to make the playoffs?
No.
I mean, at some point, we're gonna have to win something.
Right, but you need the roster to do that. So I think it's very thumbs up, of course, for me for Tibbs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you said that already.
Yeah, you need.
you did say it twice though.
I said, okay, all right, sorry.
All right, we know that.
All right. I think that it's hard to judge any coach separate from their roster.
Right.
Like, we look like the job Spo is doing right now is an anomaly. So if you expect that you're going to get a coach who's going to take a bunch of players that have not been drafted and year after year take them to the Eastern Conference Final, it's just not going to happen. Like, what's happening right now with the Miami Heat is like a 1 in a million, and everybody is giving the Spo a lot of the accolades, and I'm not taking anything away from Spo. He's one of the best, if not the best coach in the league. They in the Eastern Conference Finals because they hitting shots.
Right.
That's it. They in the Eastern Conference Finals because they hitting shots. Where was the criticism of Spo when they lost 3 games in a row? And they could have went home and dropped 4. See, once you get these narratives as a coach, it just stays with you no matter what your team, no matter what your team does. They dropped 3 straight. Spo's still a great coach. The bottom line is Miami is winning because they hit shots. Had the Knicks hit shots, we would have been in the Eastern Conference Finals. Right? So I want to see Tom Thibodeau with a balanced roster. I want to see Tom Thibodeau with ball handlers. I want to see Tom Thibodeau with shooters, because this bland offense that people complain about that don't have a lot of schemes, if you got shooters off of Brunson and Randle, you're going to get open shots. Do we have people who can knock them down? No. We got the clunkiest starting lineup in the NBA. RJ's not a shooter, in my opinion. Mitch is not a shooter, in my opinion. Grimes can shoot, but doesn't shoot. You got Randle, who I would prefer not to be taking 9 3-pointers a game. And you got, it's just a clunky roster. And we were able to get the 5th seed because of some other offensive formula. We're going to get offensive rebounds. We're not going to turn the ball over. This is going to make us a good offensive team, not actually shooting the basketball at a high rate. So I think Tom Thibodeau, in my opinion, worked miracles with this team. We knocked down a few more shots. We're not even talking about Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, I was looking at matter of fact, the Denver versus the Heat tonight. Mm-hmm. If you look at Denver, you would think Mike Malone might be the best coach in the NBA too. Every single person on that floor for Denver can shoot the basketball. And they have a center who could have won 3 MVPs in a row. If Tom Thibodeau had that roster, he might be in the finals right now. If Mike Malone had our roster, we would not look like Denver at all.
Right. The rosters matter. And I'll say this too, as far as organizational patience. Mike Malone, if I'm not mistaken, his first 5 years, they lost in the first round. Mm-hmm. But the organization was patient with him. If you look at Spo's record, there is a couple of seasons in which any other franchise would have fired him. You go to the Eastern Conference Finals in the bubble, the next year you get swept, by Milwaukee. Any other team, you would have been fired. But see, he has the luxury of being able to work through the bad seasons, work through, to work through the bad seasons without having to worry about his job. He don't have to worry about his job. You look at it, because I went through it. Any other coach would have got fired a few times, right? But he's lived to coach another season, and the other coaches just don't have that, luxury. So for me, before Tibbs is fired, give him a roster. Now, when I look at Doc Rivers, he had a championship contending roster. 3 seasons, you don't make it. I get it. I understand it. But we're nowhere. We're not even close to that. So I want to see him fail with a balanced roster. Then, yeah, you got to go.
Well, all right.
Now, it's already 11:26, so I'm wondering maybe we should save. I can go back in and change the thumbnail, and we could do it the next show, or do you guys feel like y'all want to push on?
Just edit the title and say psych at the end.
Say psych.
Can we say psych at the end, and they'll listen to this. It's like a little under 2 hours long.
We could do that next time, and we could probably address some stuff in the chat. There's a comment I saw.
Okay.
I don't know if there's a couple of comments.
Man, I was ready to get some of these jokers out of here.
Yeah.
I was waiting on this fun part.
I know.
I saw a comment from Paris Dogger Queen,
yes, go ahead. We can,
he said when we were doing we started doing the stock down for Tibbs. He said stock down with Tibbs. He said I'm seeing sorry, I lost it there. So okay, he said stock down with Tibbs, him not keeping Fournier and Rose sharp. Yeah, there it is. Okay. That's interesting. Do you guys think that would have made a difference in our season? If I think that's a good point. Like if Fournier, I think Derrick Rose is done, but at least Evan Fournier, if he was like in some of those garbage minutes, like if he had put Fournier in just to keep him in rhythm, do you think that would have made a difference?
Maybe, but wasn't we complaining that just last season that the young guys wasn't getting enough burn, and why we playing all of these old cats when we need to be developing young guys because
that's a good point too.
They're our future. Because if you're gonna bring Fournier into, that means Quickly is getting less minutes. That means Grimes is getting less minutes, or Deuce is getting less minutes. But to answer your question, I wanted to see Fournier in the playoffs.
I did too.
I just feel like
shoot. That's why.
Yeah, just roll him out just to see.
Just for 5 minutes.
Yeah, he has international championship experience. He's been in the playoffs before. He's not somebody that I think would be shook by the moment. That being said, it's hard to come off the bench and start knocking down threes when you've been sitting down all season. But I would have liked to have seen him.
I mean, in Game 6, man, he couldn't hurt us any more than we were already hurt. But I'm not saying he would have. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with this. I'm just saying.
No, I agree.
It would have been something to see. To see him in Game 6. To see, nobody else had anything. Besides Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Anybody else want to comment on that?
Boog, you was about to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you know pretty much what you need to do as soon as a game ends. You know what I'm saying? You're replaying things in your head after the game that same night. So when you talk about Evan, automatically know I'm gonna use you. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, I'm calling Evan that same night. Hey, yo, get ready. I'm gonna use you. I need you. Get ready. So that gives him a chance, that same night, get back in the gym, get some extra shots and everything. And then when he comes in for, the practice sit around, the go around the next day, he's tuned in differently to the bulletin board or whatever they're going over. And then on game day, before he leave his crib, he already had his mind frame set in a different tone because he know he's going to play. You prepare yourself before you even leave the crib, before you even get to the building to play basketball. How you feel and how you approaching the game is when you leave out your crib. Baby, I love you, blah, 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 but we got to get ready to go to. You know what you're getting ready to do. And then when you're on your way there, yeah, I'm turning up tonight. Yeah, you feel different when you get in the locker room. You dapping people up. You got a different upbeat to you. So, I think if Tom had plenty enough time, whereas I agree with y'all, he could have brought something to the table in this Miami series. Just the threat of a shooter. They didn't know what they was going to get out of Duncan Robinson, but they knew they had to put him out there on the floor because Tyler won't play. But unfortunately, when he got his opportunity and Eric, again, told him, get ready, you're going to be on the floor, he was ready to go. Like he ain't been playing all season either. But, when you got a chance and your coach said you get ready to get on that floor, you can get ready. And I believe Evan he could have helped us out in a lot of ways, the way we were shooting. My God. Some of the balls still hitting the rim.
Yeah, it couldn't have been much worse than what we got from the other guys. So
yeah, Steph froze a little bit. Hopefully we'll get it back soon.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it's a I guess we're not playing Monday morning quarterback. We're just I guess guessing what it could have been. And I thought that was a good point that Parrish Duggar brought.
Well, that's what PD do, man. PD been doing that for a long time, man. Shout out to Patrick Doug, man.
Salute to Parrish,
doing, man. I label him as the best chat personnel it is in the chats, because he's in everybody's chat, and he always, listening and contributing to the conversation, which is way more important than him making a donation. You know what I'm saying? But we all know what Paris D he does, man. And you gotta love and appreciate guys like that, for they all the way around support, whether they involving themselves in the conversation, or if they donating something to help the channel out. But more importantly, just knowing that Paris D is always around, you know what I'm saying, that, gives me another look. Whereas, when you feel good when you see people around that you're supposed to see. When you don't see them around, you wonder if they okay, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So yeah, shout out to Paris D for always being him and being a supporter for everything it is that anybody is doing. And he's always there. He's subscribed all the way around the global parts of the New York Knicks. And he's an ambassador to the chat game.
The passion.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout him out. I don't think I never shouted him out on this channel, but I try to shout him out, everything he is, man. He highly appreciated. My God, it feels good when I see you, and along with a lot of other people too. I ain't just singling y'all out, But some of us, we look to really see, you know what I'm saying? You wonder when you don't see him. And Paris D is one of them guys, like you said, the conversation he added to us just now, his voice goes a long way in the New York Knicks community. But Queen is unfroze.
Queen's unfroze.
Out of that ice tray.
Nah, she actually froze up again. I don't know.
She froze up again.
Going in and out.
Queen, come in with no video, just audio, and that uses less bandwidth.
I'm thinking so it's stock up for the chat and stock down for Steph internet out.
Stock down for the froze.
Yo, listen, shout out to Stafford Don, man. He in the chat. Guys, there's something we didn't even mention tonight. The fact that
Stafford, yo, salute to Stafford.
Staff, the Don,
brother.
Is Queen back?
Yeah, she going in and out still.
Still?
Yeah, it's still
going in and out,
your
man.
screen is froze, and you sound like RoboCop right now.
Just video still the same.
We're getting still a little RoboCop-ish.
That's that GA. That's down there. That's that.
Yeah.
That down there. Stock down to that.
Steph, maybe if you go out and come back in, like this will still be up. I think you should be able to pop out and pop back in. I think.
Yo, there's something we didn't even mention, guys. The fact that the New York Knicks is not renewing Scott Perry's. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know if she wanted to talk about that in a future show, and then she had the CBA stuff that she wanted to talk about. But yeah, we don't have a general manager. I personally think that Leon might not even hire another general manager, or if he does, it might be somebody that works for like CAA or somebody like that, somebody that worked under him, because I don't think he's not gonna relinquish any type of power. That's probably part of the reason Scott Perry didn't probably want to come back either. Remember, the split was mutual. At least that's what they said.
I think Scott Perry got another job waiting for him. That's what I think.
I'm sure.
Probably do. And if he don't, we know he can go get one. Yeah, shout out to Scott Perry, man. Appreciate you for everything you've done. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the conversations that I had with you, at on the road at some of these Knick games. So yeah, Scott Perry, I appreciate everything that you have done for us in the community. And I don't think Leon I don't think Leon gonna go hire somebody else and bring him in. I think whoever he has is he's already got him on board somewhere that he'll move in. But this is starting, it's starting to circle around back into Leon's food. He didn't, he came here, he was already here up under the contract. He knew he had to keep somebody here to help guys, understand what's going on and everything. So he kept Scott. And I think that's why you seen Scott and West together a whole lot on the road, a whole lot. They always together in the tunnel, kicking it and everything. So I think he had him up under his wing, giving him the ropes, not saying that West going in that position, which I don't have no clue what Leon gonna do, but I think, with his contract being played out, that was cool for him to let him play his contract out. And, thank you, Scott Perry, for everything you've done, man.
Yeah, I actually thought that was that was respect from them that they didn't fire him, because they could have got rid of him like last year or the year before that. Yeah. Steph, did you want to talk about like the GM job or whatever? Or save that for another show?
Yeah, well, I just shout out to Scott, Scott Perry. Whether you agree with everything he did or didn't do, he operated with a lot of class, really with a lot of class. And the way this front office operates, it's hard to know who does what. It just seems like there's just a lot of hands in the pot, a lot of group decisions. And I guess the buck stops with Leon. But for what I understand, for what I'm hearing, there's a lot of voices and I guess a lot of voting, on what they should do. But for whatever role Scott Perry played in getting us where we are, I appreciate it. Because remember, him and Steve Mills, they did right by us as far as that salary cap was concerned. So that when Leon and Rose and them took over, we were in a good position salary cap wise. We didn't have guys on long, and bad contracts.
I want to also add asset management. Okay, they try to bring in a lot of assets, like keep our own draft picks and kind of get draft picks from other teams and so on and so forth. So they did a very good job with that.
They did. And that's why I don't really think it matters who the next GM is going to be. First of all, I think it's going to be in-house.
Right.
And I don't want to say it's going to be name only, but I just think they're going to continue to operate how they've been operating, no matter who they name as the GM.
Right.
I don't see an outsider coming in like a Bob Myers. First of all, if I'm Bob Myers, after what I did in Golden State,
right, I ain't coming here.
I ain't coming here to have all these discussions about what.
Right, exactly.
I mean, they do discuss it, but I'm just
voting. Ain't no voting going on.
Correct. So I don't think they're going to bring in the outside. I think it's going to be from within.
I think it might be like Allen Houston, and he just be the face, be the one who do interviews, because we all know that Leon don't like doing them. He's not going to do them as much as we want him to. Those interviews are never coming. So Allen Houston has already been kind of like the mouthpiece for the Knicks for the past couple of years. I could see him getting it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And did we mention Rosas? Is that his name?
Rosas. No, we didn't mention him.
Yeah, he's a consultant. He was the one that negotiated the Donovan Mitchell. Well, I wouldn't say negotiate. He was
the Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell what? What did he negotiate? The Donovan Mitchell what?
He hit the snooze button. So maybe we don't want him to be the GM for the team.
Yeah, so it could be him. I think it's Gerson Rosas or something like that.
From Minnesota. He came but it was kind of weird because wasn't he the person who like replaced Tibbs when Tibbs left Minnesota? So I thought that's a little weird dynamic to me. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Watch your back, Tibbs.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't see how Tibbs would like that, but it is what it is.
I believe, I believe, like, my thoughts is like whatever your position is inside the organization, I believe Leon don't want you just to label yourself just as that, but also have other conversations and inputs about other things. So when we hear so much of like, we don't know what this person's doing, that person's doing. I think he keeps it open for his people to have input, and then he have the last say so. And the only reason why I'm speaking of saying it, I shared this before. I don't think I shared it with y'all, but when I was doing the song for them, and I wrote like 7 different songs to it, and one of the songs that I had wrote, it had something to do with Mr. Dan, he's up above marketing and promotion or something like that. It mentioned Scott Perry, it mentioned World Wide West, towards the end of the song. And when I sent it in, that morning, probably about 3:30, 4 o'clock later on that afternoon, you know what I'm saying, I had a feedback call, and I had another meeting with Mr. Perry. I mean, not Mr. Perry, with World Wide West. And he specifically told me, he said, yo, take my name off that song, take Perry's name, Allen Houston, and Dan's name off this song. He said, if you want to mention a name, mention Leon. Because when you mention Leon's name, it represents all of us. So, when he told me that, I was like, okay, they on something different. I thought it was cool the way I name dropped them in it, but he was like, nah, scratch that. And it's Leon. And what I can say is this is Leon's show, but all of them get a input into Leon, but this is Leon's show. But when Leon speaks out, he represents the whole organization. And that's good to know, because now you see why so much Dolan is out of the way. You know what I mean? He's out of the way with Leon here. He's letting him run the show. And I just know that from just, far as dealing with them, far as, doing the song for them, and just wanted to throw that out there, a little bit.
Okay.
The organization is tight.
Yeah.
The organization is tight. I mean, real tight. I mean, you ain't got it. We know RJ. One thing about, we know RJ is not on the level of Zion, but he will play more games than Zion. We know RJ is nowhere on the level of Ja Morant, but you don't see him running around doing what he doing all in the clubs and all that in the city. Our organization is tight. We just gotta, get them pieces all the way around and go ahead and get us one. But the organization is tight. Ain't no nonsense going on in our building.
Right. Would you guys like to see, even if it's not Tibbs, would you guys like to see the organization take the approach Miami took? Because remember, Miami took that approach before Spo was Spo. The approach Denver is taking with Mike Malone, Pop. I want to say they took that position with Pop before Pop was Pop, but I haven't gone through Pop's record to see. I don't think he started like Kerr started. Like Kerr started winning. I'm not sure if it was the same thing with Pop, but
I don't think so.
Yeah. So would y'all like to see, even whether it's Tibbs or another coach, want to see them take that approach with their coaches, where they just allowing them to grow and grow through failure? Like a legacy coach. Well, right. Well, yeah. And to grow through failure, because that's what Spo did. Spo grew through failure. Same thing with Mike Malone. Same thing with Pop. Are you guys more into just the results? You make the results, you get it, but when you don't, you gotta go. Damn, Steph, you gonna save this to the end of the... All right, okay, we can talk about it another time. That's a tough question.
I'm getting ready to swing at you right now. I would love for the organization to be, set in stone like the Miami Heat. They're tied in so many ways. When you talk about Eric, saying that's Pat Riley's baby. So, you know, that's Pat Riley's genes. So like when they was getting out of hand, when Dwayne Wade and all that, and no, y'all not gonna do this. This is my guy, and you know what I'm saying, give him a moment. You know what I'm saying? People had to wait on y'all, give him a moment. And he learned. So like when Steph was talking about earlier, if certain things wouldn't have gone wrong, he probably would have been gone. Now Eric is not going nowhere from Miami because as soon as Pat Riley leave up out of there, he's going to get that spot. He's going to get that spot where Pat is in. That's how much training this guy's get. And when he leaves, that guy Quinn that's on their bench, he going to move in his spot. That's how they're going to roll. They tied in together. And then when you talk about the development of players and everything, the reason why they can go and get these undrafted guys and get them up to par because they surround their community with guys that know the game and been amongst the game and been in the Miami organization where they can school them the game and give them the game and develop their game. If you're a shooter, you're going to work with this guy. If you're a big man, you're going to work with this guy. If you're a point guard, you're going to work with this guy. They got everything is surrounded and tied in. On our end, we don't have that. We don't have guys tied into working with the guys on our team. You know what I'm saying? Like I spoke upon it earlier, where's Larry Johnson and all these guys? We don't have guys tied into us. Only time you see them all there and around like that is when it's a big boy game. When no, they should be tied in like Miami got them tied in. So I wish we could take that approach, but we're not on that approach. You know what I'm saying? Where everything is set in stone from the organization to the coaching staff, that you know what I'm saying, and how you do those two things is going to determine how your team going to be, you know. So you got to give shout outs to Miami on how they run their situation over there, you know, and the owner, he's never in the way. That's Pat Riley thing. Now we're getting that since Leon been in. It's Leon's show. We getting there, but he got to fill everything out. All the coaching staff, it got to be filled out if you're not allowing somebody to bring their own thing in. And then the team got to be filled out. You know, everybody got to be working and doing something. You ain't no just sitting around, hanging around, and you know, just forget all that. I know it's such a such to the game. Forget all that. You know, Gerald Wilkins, that's my man too. I've been cheering for him along. Met him in Atlanta. Forget all that. What are you doing to help the team, dude? All these guys, man. We got too many legends. John Starks is there. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? I know he give it to him. He doing. I know John be giving it to him because that's the type player he was. But man, you got to give respect to Miami and how they do their whole thing from the office all the way down to the player that ain't going to be in the draft this year. They're going to get some more.
Right.
Yeah.
Spo even spoke to that. He said that. He said, you know, he would have been fired. You know, he said, you know, you have to be able to grow through failures as an organization, you know, and not just put it on one person. And he said the reason why they've been able to come back and kind of reinvent themselves is because they're not starting a new system every time with different coaches. It's the same system. They do things the same way. So it's just a matter of finding the players to plug in to their system, as opposed to now you got this coach, a different system. 3 years later, you got another coach. Now you're bringing in another system. That continuity, he was saying, has really helped them. He was very upset. I wouldn't say he was upset. He was just frustrated that quality coaches like Doc Rivers and Nick Nurse and what have you was being let go. And he was just happy that he was in a position where they're able to grow through their failures. Because he did. He grew through his.
Right.
For sure.
See, Pop, I don't think Pop even had, like, Pop started off. Remember, he was the GM before he became the head coach. Like, he hired himself, I think, with the Spurs. Like, he was the GM first, and then David Robinson got hurt, and I think the Spurs was, you know, kind of done. And then he fired Bob Hill, made himself the head coach, and the rest was history.
Oh, is that how it happened?
That's why it happened. Like, that's why he's the GM and head coach now. He's the GM first, and then he hired himself, and he never fired.
He's been the GM all this time as well.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. And so when he started coaching, he had David Robinson.
Yes, he had David Robinson already, and then 2 years later, they lucked up. Well, not lucked up because David Robinson got hurt. They got the first pick, got Tim Duncan, and won the championship the next year.
Yeah. Wow.
So he kind of lucked up, slashed, helped himself out. He hired himself. It's not like he's gonna fire himself.
Right. But also keep in mind there was 7 years between their 2 championships. I don't know if any other coach would have lasted 7 years between championships.
Yeah, but he was the GM he was the GM and president of basketball operations all those 7 years. So it's not like he's gonna fire himself. That's what
but I mean somebody else. I mean, he has a boss though. You're right.
Yeah. The owner could have
could have fired him. But I'm just saying, just 7 years, like that's unheard of.
Right.
Nowadays, I should say.
Like if James Dolan was the owner of the Spurs, he probably would have fired him.
Right.
Excuse me for 1 second.
All right. Anything else?
No, we good.
Yeah, what Paris Duggar, did you listen to what I just said? I said it doesn't have to be Tibbs. I'm just saying in general, how do you feel about just that approach?
Yeah, it could have been, anybody.
Yeah.
Because Tibbs is a good example of it though, because he does have Knicks ties from before. Like he was an assistant coach here. So
Right.
I mean, Spo was an assistant coach for damn near 10 years before he became the head coach in Miami. So I can see if it was Tibbs, but it doesn't have to be Tibbs though.
Right. I just like that. If you have a good coach, some coaches are not good, but if you do have a good coach, get them the players and just let them go through the failures as a team. You're so quick to change out like the grass is green. Oh, this other coach is gonna, is gonna do it. Like I think Toronto should have. Well, now we're hearing that Nick Nurse was having some issues with management. So that was that was part of it.
When it comes to the Knicks, though, I don't remember the last time we had like a good roster but a bad coach. Usually it went hand in hand, bad roster, bad coach, or I don't know, maybe good coach, bad roster, maybe a little bit during the Van Gundy days. I don't know. It's kind of like we have to build a roster around the coach in order for him to succeed, period.
I would have liked to have seen Van Gundy in that role. I mean, he left, but I think there was management issues. It was a management change, or or something, something like that.
Right. But yeah, he would have been a candidate too. He would have been a good candidate, but
for something like that. Yeah.
Van Gundy wild, and Van Gundy said, "Yo, we don't need to have half times no more."
Yeah, that was I don't understand that at all.
You don't want me to go to the restroom. You don't want me to go to the session stand. You don't want me to do nothing.
Nothing.
You want me
Commercial break.
The building getting mad because we lose it.
Just a straight commercial break and on to the third quarter.
Man, crazy, man.
I'm with you. The coolest 718. Yeah. These coaching narratives is something else, but they started hitting shots. That's why they in the finals. Spo had something to do with it. Don't get me wrong, but they knocking down shots. All right. Anything else? And if not, any last words?
Man, salute to the chat, man. You know how we do Thursday nights. Good show, everybody.
Rock, hit that like button on the way out. Don't forget.
Yeah, no doubt. Salute to the chat.
And don't forget to check out the Queen's podcast.
Yes,
the Just Nicking It podcast, wherever you get your whatever streaming platform you use to get your audio podcast, I am there. Yeah, I have another one. Hopefully I could get to it tomorrow, man.
Freezy's on. I think we should invade Freezy and ask him why the hell he dropped off like that.
I think that was one of the reasons he dropped off. He just didn't want to interrupt anybody because he did Lawrence Tears not too long after he dropped off.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Because is he over there?
Is he over there saying, man, I went to Dope Soul. They were talking about Julius Randle and
I don't know.
Freezy's podcast, I think, is called New York Knicks Basketball. So we alternate every Thursday. He'll be on my podcast one Thursday. Today we was on his podcast. It's called New York Knicks Basketball with Uncle Freezy. And we talked about Randle, and he was upset. He said he had to take a few days off from podcasting because of the whole
he had me dying, Quinn. When you went this, he had this long thing about how how great Quentin Grimes was, and Freezy's like, and then when it was his turn, he said, Quentin Grimes a ham sandwich. like you went on, and like he's like all listening, and he's with you, and then his first thing's like, man, he's a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Everybody,
The chemistry is fine.
You can't get tied up with these guys on this team. You got to. If you're a Knicks person, you love the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say, man, I just met Julius Randle, and I was happy to meet him that day and that night when we was all at the game that night, and because I decided to go back there in the family room, and they accepted me back there, and I had a good conversation with him, so I got a little bit closer with him. But I don't invest it. I don't invest it in every bit. Probably about $23,000 in the Julius Randle. Me personally, I did the MIP in my P form. I did no games off. All that money. That money, it costs money, and I know when I invest money in somebody, if I can still criticize somebody, just because I'm a fan of yours, don't mean I can't speak my mind of what's going on about a certain ball player. And if he needs to get his game up to par, he need to get his game up to par.
Right.
In certain areas. Does that mean I don't like him? No. That doesn't mean none of that. But I want Julius to succeed. I want to be writing a song where it said Big Dog bought the championship. Where the haters at? Where the haters at? I want to be saying that. But he has to get us there and put on in the playoffs.
Listen, Jay Boogie, that's all good and everything. You see how I give Julius Randle stocks up. The other day I give him an A-.
Right.
If they can get rid of him, out of here. Because we're gonna next week's show, we're probably gonna be talking about who do you get rid of, who do you keep.
Right.
Stay tuned for that. Don't think because I give him a good, he's playing well, I got to give him a good grade.
Right.
And, some people they not able to make the difference. I don't like or dislike those guys. I mean, my personal feelings, I none of this is personal. I just look at what they do on the court and what they do throughout the season. Right. That's what my opinion and my judgment and my grades and all that stuff. It's solely based on that. I like RJ Barrett. I love that kid, but he sucked. And I have to say it the way it is.
Word.
And when we talk next week, it's going to be different because it's not is about now on an eye toward building this roster.
Yes.
So a person can get an A+ and still be like, nah, I think he got to go. Because to me, this roster is just. And a lot of fans think we're just going to bring in some shooters. We got a 9-man rotation. So you're going to bring in shooters and stretch it to 11? Something is going to have to give. If you bringing in shooters into the rotation, somebody has to come out. So
remember we tried that a couple of seasons ago, right? We missed the playoffs. We brought in shooters, right? When we lost to Atlanta, we're like, oh, we don't have enough shooters. So we went out and got shooters. What happened? We missed the playoffs.
Well, we didn't get the right. They weren't the right fit. Yeah, it's gonna be.
It's where do you get that right fit? Where do you get that great shooter that plays great defense the way we want?
I don't think you're gonna be able to do.
It's never gonna be the right fit.
Yes, you're right, but you can make it work. Everybody doesn't have to be a defensive player in the lineup. Look with some teams have top 10 defense and they got one player in that starting lineup who can't defend for nothing, to say the least. But the other 4 make up for it. You got good team defense. You got good schemes, good strategies. You can kind of hide the player. Can't hide 2 or 3 though.
Right. I just don't want people to get all mad when their favorite players get replaced, because eventually they will, whether they like it or not.
Yeah. And the East is wide open. You think not just the Knicks, Atlanta. Who else? There's other teams out there saying, I'm not afraid of Milwaukee. Look what they just got beat in the first round. I'm not afraid of Boston. I'm not even afraid of Miami.
Oh.
A lot of organizations in the Eastern Conference is probably saying, yo, this Eastern Conference is wide open. If we can just get some players and some other guys step up, we can be there too.
Nobody's afraid of Miami. I don't
so
care.
Other teams, it's going to be an arms race. Now whether or not they can do things, because, the salary cap implications, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the way it's looking at and the way they breaking it down and the way they telling me the understanding that I'm getting is that Miami not going to have the money to go ahead and sign Gade and sign Strohs and sign Love. Milwaukee are not going to have the money to sign Lopez and sign Ingles. And don't forget, Chris Middleton's a free agent too. And don't forget, if they go ahead and do what they're going to do far as with Boston and get his due $295 million, $59 million per year, they're not going to do anything else as far as their squad. They already said Gary is not even coming back. The light-skinned bully guy on their team, they say he's not even coming back. So Boston going to be breaking up. You already know that Philly, they got a new coach. That's going to take time to gel. We don't know if James with that or not, because James is on Houston. I want to get to the strip clubs. I want to wear 2 buttons in a shirt and my belly out. He's on different mode. He don't want no chip, none of that. And then they ain't bringing Mike D'Antonio. So that might break up. So if all these teams is breaking up and we already don't beat Cleveland, even if we only critique 2 players and if we get rid of 3 of these guys and bring in 2 other tighter players, say for example, we bring in LeVert, that hurts Cleveland. Say we bring in Steph Curry, that hurts Brooklyn, and it gives us 2 shooters, and we get rid of something. Say Quickly is not here, and Obi is not here, and maybe something else. Maybe Sims ain't here, and we bring in one other somebody, 3-and-D type guy. We making some better moves as far as our team, the way that CBA is telling me and the understanding that I'm getting, that a lot of these teams that's in front of us are going to break up, and we sitting back, not a lot of strong contract. Julius doesn't have a strong contract, RJ, now that Poison Pill is off January 1st, he doesn't have a strong contract. That's movable contracts that people can take on, or we can keep it, if we can keep our whole team together and let everybody else fall off. I think we're in a great...
Keep this team together? Huh?
No. But I'm saying keep it together, but already added pieces.
I see. I got you.
Early, you know what I'm saying? You can add pieces to this right here and become stronger when all them other teams is getting weaker.
Right.
Did Philly hire a new coach? No, right?
Yeah,
Nurse. Yeah, they got Nurse.
Really? They got Nurse, and I know Monty Williams went to the Pistons.
He went to Detroit. They already said Joe is not going nowhere in Boston. They keeping him. So,
good for them. I just want to Knicks 100 AGM. See, that's the problem. We so in rush to jump the lines to success. Knicks 100 AGM, there is no line. What's the line? You get a team that's good enough and you move. So you would rather sit here. Now I like Grimes. I would like to keep Grimes, but I wouldn't let Grimes keep me from getting
Devin Booker.
Or Brandon Ingram, or why? We don't know what Grimes is going to be. We're extrapolating. We're imagining what he could be, but we have no idea what he's going to be. You know what Devin Booker is. You know what Brandon Ingram is. You know what. I'm not a big Paul George, and Paul George is an older injury-prone guy. But let's just say Paul George was in his prime. Let's just say. You know who Paul George is. So you're not going to take a young, proven player because you're going to hope that the guy you got can become a Booker? I mean, come on. We got to be reasonable here. We got to be reasonable. The East is wide open.
He said Grimes is the heartbeat of the team. So
no. Grimes is your heartbeat, and I get it. We all have our own heartbeats on the team.
That just means you just got personal feelings about Grimes, which is fine.
Yeah. We all have heartbeats on the team.
So what's Jalen Brunson, like a limb? It's one leg,
a vein or something.
A vein.
Right.
I think Jalen Brunson is the best point guard in the East.
Wow.
I think he's the best. I think next year he'll be the starting point guard for the East. And I think we're building around this dude like we're supposed to. I don't think there's another. I don't think Trae Young, none of them, none. After what I just seen, and Eric could not shut this dude down. And Miami could not shut him down. Jaden was prepared for Miami. He got prepared for Miami's defensive traps through Toronto. Remember when Toronto was playing, they was trapping him with all them long arm, all the dudes every time they play. See, that's how you learn through certain situations. And, you know, when other situations occur, I already seen this. And y'all ain't never limpy like Toronto. I'm getting ready to crush y'all. Man, we got the best guard it is in the East.
You know what we don't talk about enough when we talk about Brunson? How smart he is.
Yes.
Right?
How smart he is. How he's able to see something 1, 2, 3 times, make the adjustment. All right, now I need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that happens a lot of times in the actual game, you know, and not between games. Sometimes it happens between games, but a lot of times it happens in the game itself. He is very, very smart.
Grimes is the soul of the team.
Thank you, Leon. But I'm gonna jump off if y'all get ready to jump off.
We wrapping it up, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate everybody joining us in the chat. Dang, it's after 12. Always a pleasure. I'm gonna see if I could do something Tuesdays for like an hour and a half.
You should.
Yeah, maybe like from 8:30 to 10, like something like, but with a strict cutoff point. Like I can't be doing like 3-hour shows.
We had a straight cutoff point tonight for 2 hours. It was 2.
That is true. But Jay Boogie, Jarrell, Ajay, I appreciate
Queen.
You guys. There's no show without you guys, so I appreciate it. And Jeff Clafter, wherever you are today, we miss you.
Hello, Jeff.
We'll see you next week. And Tsunami, wherever you are. Staff up.
You
know?
What up to the people?
Delusional Knicks fan.
Delusional Knicks fan as well. Definitely. All right.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't so.
Where you at?
Don't so.